Douluo, my martial spirit is a system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Dinner. Fei, who had condensed the soul power blade in his hand, was about to clean up the water and fire crab, but he almost fell into the hole he dug when he heard Yan's words suddenly. Brother Yan's IQ and ability to control the situation are really worrying. Undead Douluo coughed 2 or 3 times, and after thinking for a while, he said, then since you guys and Quack are all busy, I won't be idle. Let me prepare a delicacy for you. It is a very cherished delicacy. Even if the friends of the old man came to find the old man, I would not necessarily take this broadman to them. I'm going to apologize for scolding you today. This thing is very effective for the sublimation of your respective martial spirits. Of course, it has an absolute attraction for every kind of existence. What Undying Douluo said was so mysterious, it immediately aroused everyone's curiosity. At the same time, I felt a little embarrassed. It was normal for the teacher to admonish the students, and even though Undead Douluo said he scolded them, but they racked their brains and never thought of when Undead Douluo scolded them. I'm afraid even the teachers who taught them to step into the cultivation of soul masters scolded them worse than this. Greedy dad, you can't be talking about that thing, right? Isn't it? Tonight I also have a good fortune. Quack jumped up and down very excitedly, and at the same time, made a crisp croaking sound. Well, I have treasured it for a long time, and took it out this time. It is a chance for these little guys. You first prepare according to the old man's arrangement just now. The old man will arrive later. After all, preparing for that thing needs to solve some unnecessary troubles. As soon as the voice fell, Undead Douluo disappeared out of thin air in place, leaving only Fei and the others with bewildered faces. Mr. Quack, what is Teacher Immortal talking about? It looks very mysterious and special. Please satisfy our itchy curiosity. Hulina knelt down and looked at Quack seriously. Guagua didn't seem to hear it, but there was a trace of saliva flowing from the side of the mouth, which made people and Undead Douluo say something close to the delicious food. Cough. Guagua, don't be dumbfounded. Hurry up and lead the way back, and bring the tools. Fei can't cook without tools. Yi Lanshan stretched out her hand, and picked up Guagua, who had fallen into food fantasy, and at the same time, decided to go back a trial path. Sister Nana, can I call you that? And Sister Ruao? Yi Lanshan turned around, and looked at Ulina and Huorao seriously. Ah. Sister Nana? Haha, Lanshan is not bad, that's right. Your cold feeling makes me afraid to get close to you. Hulina patted her chest. That's how I call you. From now on I will call you Lanshano. And then Fei was too awkward, so he just called brother-in-law. That's right, brother-in-law. PFFT. With a loud noise, Fei immediately fell into the pit, supporting himself with both hands, and looked at Hulina, who was laughing with astonishment. Yi Lanshan turned her head to look at Fei, and at the same time answered Hulina. Well, let's call it like this from now on. Yes, that's what I call it too. Huorao also walked over. Hulina compared Huorao's petite figure, and then looked at her own figure. Ruao, are you really only 8 years old? Ah. What's the matter? Isn't it like? Huorao asked with some doubts. Hulina said casually, hey, Zhu Jiangxing is really lucky. Ruao, you are definitely the best figure among the 3 of us. I won't comment on Lanshan. It's the kind that can't find an adjective. I'm afraid that every boy who doesn't feel tempted is not a boy at all. Alas, I'm a little. Forget it. Let's not talk about this topic. I'm not. Yan raised his right hand, indicating that this was incorrect. I don't have any feelings for 7th sister, but I'm a man, and I think Nana, you are very beautiful. You have always been. Woo-woo. Fei stretched his arms to wipe away the accumulated tears at the corners of his eyes, and looked at Yan like an old father seeing his adult son finally normal. My stupid second brother finally got smart once. Although what he said was the same as his confession, what came out of his mouth, was extremely believable. Hey, Yan, my dear brother is still here. What are you thinking? Oh, brother ZU, Fortunately you are Nana's real brother, otherwise, my relationship with you would not be so good. Damn it. Ji-Fei really yelled out so loudly. All eyes were on Ji-Fei. Sixth brother? What are you doing lying in the pit? And your expression? It's not normal. Is it because the punishment given to you by the undead teacher made it difficult for you? If it doesn't work, just let the water and fire crab make soup. It doesn't matter, as long as you can eat it anyway. Ziyu stared at Ji-Fei strangely. Yi Lanshan obviously understood what Ji-Fei was thinking. She just smiled and did not explain. Hey, brother, Ziyu's words are wrong. Even I can see that Xiao Fei was so surprised after seeing such a confession scene of brother Yan. Can't you see it? Even I can see it. Zhu Jiangxing nodded affirmatively and had no idea of the impending critical attack. A hand suddenly pressed Zhu Jiangxing's ear, and at the same time, Huo Rao's figure directly blocked Zhu Jiangxing's face. I didn't see it. You understand? Why didn't you tell me when I was with you before? Do you still understand this? Zhu Jiangxing yelled. Rao lightly. The ear fell off. It's too obvious. Isn't it like this when Xiao Fei and seventh sister show affection? Don't you even notice it? Raising his hand, Zhu Jiangxing immediately begged for mercy. I'm going to prepare crabs. I didn't see anything. Ji-Fei jumped up directly, saying that he didn't know anything, and didn't say anything. Please continue. But Ji-Fei still said to Yi Lanshan, do we often show our affection? And it's obvious. Yi Lanshan, what do you think? Ji-Fei turned around resentfully and looked at Yi Lanshan, who was looking at him at the same time. Both of them laughed at the same time. Look, Rao, look at the two of them. Isn't this a show of affection? It's obvious that what brother Yan said just now is very similar to what Xiao Fei usually said, so I came to this conclusion. While rubbing his ears, Zhu Jiangxing complained. Really? Huo Rao shook her head repeatedly, looking at Yi Lanshan and Ji-Fei for a while. Well, it seems to be true. Ziyu hugged Yan's shoulders. Let's go. I went to cut firewood. You are still far away from becoming my brother-in-law of Ziyu, but if you work hard, it is not impossible. Yan, End of this chapter. Chapter 202 Dinner. Pots and pans. Even the pits are saved, but for the fire stand, you still need to prepare tools. Otherwise, if you can't make the delicious food that the immortal teacher wants, you will definitely kill me. I have to admit that, although immortal Douluo lives in seclusion in the Lost Grand Canyon, he has a complete range of tools for life at home. The 10-year-old soul beast of the croaking generation of martial arts has completely become a luggage rack carrying pots and pans, bouncing around, and Yi Lanshan, Lina, and Huorao are by his side, and the three of them look back from time to time, take a look to see if the croaking bouncing will drop things on the road. The division of labor is extremely clear. Anyway, Ji-Fei used the sharp soul blade condensed by his own soul power to clean up the water and fire crab before the others prepared the tools. There is a river in it. No matter how clear Ji-Fei is, even if the whole area is flooded, the water stored in it will never run out. When the time came, Ji-Fei also teased, this can't be your bath water, can it? It can't be true, can it? After all, who is free to carry a river's water with them? Moreover, the size of this water storage thing is only the size of a palm. Ji-Fei didn't believe it at first. After all, I'm afraid it wouldn't be surprising to see anything here at Undead Douluo. People are surprised. When Guagua left, he also shot back at Ji-Fei contemptuously, and then went back to get the tools with a few bounces. That luck is very funny. There is no such thing as a soul beast that started 10 years ago. But it's also true. How can a soul beast like Quack care about so many things, which is as casual as it is? Maybe as a frog with ambition, it must be so casual to live for so long. Brother-in-law, we are already here. How is your place? My Lanshan sister is hungry. If you don't hurry up, if there are any consequences, we don't want to watch such a scene. Hulina acted like I don't care about anything. Anyway, the most important thing is to eat quickly while fiddling with those utensils. She looked at Ji-Fei, who was playing with water and fire crabs. Ji-Fei wiped his sweat. Hurry up. We'll just wait for Brother Ziyu and the others to bring Che back. It's true, Master Immortal. Don't we have fire type soul masters here? We can use this kind of fire to cook. Let my brother and the others see what kind of firewood they have. Oh, third sister, do you mean brother Yan who is afraid of getting tired? Huo Rao curled her lips and said, well, it's all a little bit. Anyway, there is no Zhujiangxing in your family, HMPH. Hulina replied not to be outdone. Okay. Huo Rao admitted that, when she talked with Hulina, she always carried the confidence of absolute victory, but ended up without any sense of accomplishment. I'm going. Isn't this tree too hard? I can't chop it down with my Wuhan. Also, there are no fallen branches in this lost tree, and these dead trees don't fall down. Wiping off the sweat accumulated on his brow, Zhu Jiangxing raised his head and looked at the huge dead tree in front of him. He couldn't help but sigh for a while. Yan beside him was sitting on a big rock. He also tried it just now. The big tree next to the huge dead wood that has been burned by the flames is his masterpiece. Yan didn't have anything similar to a blade like Zhu Jiangxing and Ziyu. His soul power also carried the attribute of flames. If he used the blade condensed by soul power to cut down trees, the dry trees would also be burned. In this way, it was burned clean before it was brought back. So Yan decided to shoulder the work of moving firewood. Ziyu held a blood red moon blade in her hand and supported a tree panting with the other hand. Don't really say it. This tree cutting is really a tiring job, and there are still people around here. There are no fallen branches, alas, and these trees are too strange, aren't they? They are obviously dry, but they can't even cut down Wuhan. Hurry up, it's getting late, or we can change places to see if there are any fallen tree branches or the like in other places. If we go back late, we will suffer if Teacher Undead gets angry. Yan stood on tiptoe and looked at Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing, who were panting and empty of soul power, and it was a little funny. No, it's just that there is no fog around here. If we go far, the surrounding fog will fill up, and we will not be able to find our way back, so let's think of a way. Well, what Giant Crossing said is not wrong. Yan, you also come to help. I thought of a pretty good idea. Have you figured out a solution? Yan turned over and sat up directly and said at the same time, what solution? Yeah, what can I do? This deadwood is very special. Those lush trees will definitely not burn, and this deadwood can't be cut. Ziyu smiled and pointed to the ground. There is some clean soil on the ground, and even some grass does not grow, perhaps because there is no light, or because it is in this special deadwood forest. Ground? Yan looked at the ground strangely. The soil can't burn. You are stupid. Who told you to burn it? We were dug up by the soil, and then we carried the dead tree back with the roots. Anyway, the tree can be burned, so it can be regarded as firewood. You say that is the reason bar? Do you just use such a big tree as firewood? It seems a little difficult to do, right? It seems impossible if you don't cut it up. Yan scratched his head thinking about such a scene. It seems that it is not suitable at all. If we can't cut it, it doesn't mean that other people can't cut it, right? Guagua teacher can definitely do it, so don't worry, we will do it. Happy decision. Ziyu walked under a relatively short tree. We have no other way to get firewood except this way. After all, the fog here is enough to make us lose our way. Well, brother Yan, let's do this. There is no other way. Zhu Jiangxing took out a sword. This is a sword transformed by soul power. It is similar to a martial soul, but there is still a certain gap. It's just that digging trees with a sword is a bit out of place. Needless to say, wouldn't it be good to just use the soul power to smash the surrounding area? Anyway, the soil can't be as hard as the trees, right? The two of us can just make a move. Yan, you wait on the side and control it if possible. Find out the direction where the trees fell, so Giant Crossing and I can make a move. Okay, there is no problem at all. Yan nodded. He can do such small things by relying on his own strength, and he can completely do it without soul power. Moonblade. Crescent moon slash. Ziyu twitched her one-handed martial soul and directly smashed a deep hole in the ground, exposing the roots of the tree in an instant. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel. Mundo fanfic novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 Tree Demon. Something's wrong. Zhu Jiangxing, who was standing by the dead tree, had just summoned his Xingyu sword martial soul, ready to receive Ziyu's strong attack and directly trample the surrounding ground, and then he could take up the dead tree by its roots. But after Ziyu's attack, Zhu Jiangxing was keenly aware of something amiss. The roots of this dead tree seemed to be moving. Originally, Ziyu's blow of crescent moon slash should have hit the roots of this dead tree directly. Zhu Jiangxing can be quite sure that what he saw just now is definitely the thick black roots stuck in the exposed soil. Just when the crescent moon was about to fall, the dark roots stuck in the soil instantly pulled to the other side. As if having a self-awareness, use this to dodge Ziyu's meniscus blade attack. What's wrong? What's wrong? Haven't all the holes on the ground come out? If you make persistent efforts and attack a few times, you can knock down this tree. Ziyu accumulated soul power, and the moon blade in her hand roared, and the nearby soul power became restless at the same time. Hurry up, didn't you just say that? If you don't take Che back quickly, it's really hard to deal with the undead teacher getting angry. I don't want to experience that horrible atmosphere again. Kill me, I don't want to make the same mistakes again. Yan walked to the side of the dead tree, stretched out his hand, and landed on the trunk of the dead tree fiercely. His body also began to lean forward. The powerful force made the whole dead tree start to shake crazily, and the dry branches made a rustling sound. No, stop, hurry up and stop Ziyuj. Second brother Yan, this tree seems to be alive. Zhu Jiangxing approached the dead tree, while rubbing his eyes. That's right, I was absolutely right. The roots of the tree just now have been retracted. This tree is definitely alive, and it should be a special kind of soul beast. Plant type soul beast. Ah, is there? Why didn't I notice? Ziyu and Yan both knelt down and scraped the moist soil around them. There are no roots at all. Giant crossing, are you reading it wrong? Scrape the soil. Indeed, the fluffy soil does not look like it will reach into the roots of the trees. And no matter how you look at it, it is impossible for this fluffy soil to hold such a tall tree, right? Of course, this isn't the case of rooted. According to Ziyu, the roots must be deeper, and a lot of soul power may have to be wasted to attack to achieve the desired effect. That's right, Giant Crossing, don't be kidding. Most of us are familiar with plant type soul beasts. No matter how you look at it, this doesn't look like a plant type soul beast. If it is true, it will appear when we use the soul blade to slash. He has already attacked us, but he didn't attack us. Even if the calculation book was burned by my flames, how could he be alive? Don't worry about anything. The sixth brother might be anxiously waiting now. Zhu Jiangxing looked very carefully at the dead wood that had been completely burned by Yan, leaving only the roots deeply stuck in the soil. Wrong. Zhu Jiangxing instantly noticed something was wrong. Second brother Yan, brother Ziyu, look, it's dead wood, and it's so flammable. Why doesn't it continue to burn downwards when the upper part burns? It's definitely not right. Absolutely, it's weird. Ziyu couldn't help re-examining it when she heard this. As Zhu Jiangxing said, the dead wood is flammable as a whole, and it should be that the upper part is completely burned. Why doesn't it burn when it reaches the lower part? And what is even more strange is that the differentiation between the two colors of pitch black and deadwood brown is very obvious at the dividing line. This is definitely not a normal phenomenon. Yan's flames are terrifying. It's impossible for such deadwood to burn incompletely. But now, hey, it's moving. It's moving. This dead tree really moved. Yan's exclamation sounded. I'm definitely not mistaken. Look at the pit in the root of this tree. Under Yan's finger is a piece of hard soil and a thick black tree root is rapidly shrinking towards the ground, accompanied by a series of small creaking sounds. If you don't listen carefully, it is really can't hear it. Damn, this guy can't really be a soul beast, is it? Or is it some kind of terrifying soul beast in the Lost Grand Canyon? How can such a powerful flame like Lion Yan's be unable to burn? Ziyuan and Zhu Jiangxing took several steps back in an instant. Everyone's eyes were a little surprised. They stared closely at the dead wood. I was really not afraid that the dead tree would be ashamed by them, so I lifted the roots and ran away. Huh. Do you think it is possible that this thing is separated from the tree above? After Yan reminded Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing, they nodded at the same time. You see, the flames I released burned the tree to a certain extent and stopped burning. Moreover, our soul skills can't damage this dead tree. The absolute problem lies in this. Come on, let me try again. This time I release the flames to attack directly below. Yan is a man of action, and when he was speaking, he had already started to do it. The surging flames hit the bottom of the dead wood in an instant, and a heat wave rushed towards Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing in an instant, messing with the fluffy soil on the ground. Ziyu hurriedly grabbed Zhu Jiangxing and ran towards the back, at the same time shouting loudly, "Damn, can we let the two of us escape and fight again later?" The rumbling sound kept ringing, so Yan didn't hear Ziyu's complaints at all, and his eyes were simply staring at the strange changes under the dead tree. Flame. The fiery flame that had bloomed from the beginning disappeared without a trace when it touched the root of the dry tree, and there was not even the slightest trace of soul power left. The dry tree root even emitted a metal-like glow-colored reflections. What's going on here? Are you really not afraid of fire? Then what I said should be correct, right? Yan turned around to look at Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing, pointing at the root of the dead tree at the same time. Ah, it seems so. What's wrong? Ziyu noticed that Zhu Jiangxing was pulling her arm and looked at Zhu Jiangxing inexplicably. In the back, look at the picture of second brother Yan. Zhu Jiangxing swallowed hard and at the same time said with a trembling voice, "Look, haven't I been watching it all the time? What are you afraid of? It's just a dead tree. Even if it's really weird, what strange tricks can you come up with?" Ziyu raised her head helplessly. Suddenly, she seemed to see something extraordinary. She quickly raised her right hand and said tremblingly, Yan, back. You're back. End of this chapter. Chapter 204 Tree Demon. What? Are you two subverting your usual image too much? Yan was teasing Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing, who pretended to look alike, and turned around. I don't know if I don't look back. When I look back, I feel cold all over my body. A face made of twisted bark was slowly getting close to Yan, and looking up, it was a huge tree. The originally dry branches seemed to have softened, and they floated down along the trunk of the dead wood. The vines glowing with metallic luster look extremely hard. No matter how they look, I'm afraid that, even if they are forcibly slashed, they will not be able to cause damage, right? It wasn't like this just now. Although Yan was a little slow to react just now, he ran as fast as lightning. He stepped over in 1 or 2 steps, and directly ruthlessly got into the middle position between Ziyu and Zhu Jiangxing. The roots of the dead wood became the feet to move forward, and the whole land began to tremble crazily, and what was even more terrifying was yet to come. Originally it was just a dead tree, but gradually it became the second, third, and fourth. I rely on. Ziyu forcibly wanted to calm down, but the strange trees with human faces made them terrified to the extreme, which was really terrifying. The three of Ziyu were clustered together, and the 3 small faces were pressed together. With the trembling appearance and the slightly opened mouth, not only did they not have that sense of crisis, but on the contrary they had a cute appearance. The deadwood surrounded the 3 of Ziyu, and the deep vines bound the 3 of them tightly together, and kept shrinking the vines. Ziyu opened his mouth with difficulty. His face was very rosy, and he wanted to open his mouth to breathe heavily, but the vines that began to shrink made them unable to breathe. Yan wanted to make a move to burn the vines binding them, but he found that he couldn't gather soul power at all, and even if he could do it himself, he didn't dare to do it at all. His attribute is flame, and he doesn't familiar with the power to control the flame. If he wanted to burn the vines, but he didn't control the output of soul power well, wouldn't the blazing flames roast them first? And the vines don't seem to be afraid of fire, so it's more convenient, and it saves the effort of tying them up and roasting them. Zhu Jiangxing's body is small, which is good. When the vines restrained him, he left a relatively large gap, but it was absolutely impossible for him to feel at ease. Zhu Jiangxing was able to use soul power, so in such a situation where Ji Bianan and Ziyu frantically writhed their bodies to breathe fresh air, Zhu Jiangxing carefully controlled a soul power blade, and through the gap on his side, spaced the vines apart. Don't move, brother Ziyu. Brother Yan, both of you, don't move. I'll cut this damn thing apart. Clap. But when Zhu Jiangxing put the soul power blade on the vine, a slender vine suddenly grew below it at an extremely fast speed and knocked off the soul power blade directly. Zhu Jiangxing became angry instantly. Gather the soul power directly again, and the purpose is not to put it in your own hands, but to directly control the soul power, to fall on the vine with your own thoughts. Clap. The imagination was perfect, but when he took real action, the desperate reality slapped Zhu Jiangxing hard. And it seems that, because Zhu Jiangxing's actions angered the restrained vines, the vines that originally contracted extremely slowly immediately contracted faster, and the squeeze of the three people made a creaking sound. Fortunately, it wasn't the sound of cracking bones, maybe it was just the sound of muscles roaring. It's all over. I seem to see a blue mist in front of me. Is this the world after death? It's a strange place. It seems that I feel much happier. Wow. How long are you three going to sleep? Greedy Dad is still waiting. Aren't you three boys here to chop firewood? Why are you tied up by the beast demon vine? I laughed so hard. Ziyu's vision gradually became clearer. The originally bound vines had fallen to the ground, and sections of cut trees lay quietly on the ground. Quack's eyes narrowed into a gaping mouth. The tongue sticking out seemed to be teasing Ziyu and the three of them for their stupidity. Mr. Guagua, aren't we dead? Just now I clearly saw the ethereal blue mist. No, Teacher Guagua, isn't your body color blue? Hiss, your neck hurts. The three of you don't know whether to say life is good or bad. Just now you used the most precious life-saving means. Quack jumped up and kicked a piece of dead wood to Ziyu's feet, and at the same time, Quack jumped up and landed on it. Remember the meeting gift I gave you? Ziyu knocked on her head. It seemed to be very sore. It seemed to be the sequelae of long-term lack of oxygen. I seem to remember. The effect seems to be used to save life, and it can withstand fatal blows. Could it be just now? It doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, looking at Ziyu's dazed little face, and Yan and Zhu Jiangxing lying on both sides, Guagua patted his stomach directly, let out a very strange laugh, and said intermittently, "It can't be done. My stomach hurts before I ate. I really don't know whether you are unlucky or lucky. You have wasted such a life-saving means when you met this tricky beast monster vine. But you also saved a little life. Wake up, Yan. Sword Star, wake up." Ziyu shook Yan and Zhu Jiangxing on both sides and found that there was no movement of waking up, but the sound of Yan's inhalation and exhalation was enough to prove that the two of them were not dead yet. That's a good omen. Let's go. The theme of tonight is to tease you three silly children. Quack quack. I laughed so hard. Raising the frog's hand, Ziyu saw a misty azure blue mist surging towards her, and at the same time, the cut trees around them floated directly, and then Ziyu gradually floated into the air. You just lie down. You have been bound by the beast demon vine for so long. If you don't have that breath of mine, the bones of the three of you will be shattered into dregs. Go back and cultivate yourself, and you will have further work tomorrow. As for the trial, don't try to escape just because you're injured. It's absolutely impossible. Greedy Dad and the others are just waiting for firewood from the three of you. I didn't expect you to play this game. Ziyu replied feebly. There is no way, Mr. Quack. There isn't even a branch around here, so it's impossible for this green tree to burn. We thought it was a deadwood forest, but we didn't expect. Ugh. Losing such a life-saving means. Ziyu felt regretful all over. End of this chapter. Chapter 205 Tree Demon. PFFT. I really laughed to death. As night approached, the surrounding fog dissipated because of the croaking, and the naked galaxy appeared in the children's small eyes that were glowing with fire. A child holds a white soul power blade in his hand and walks here and there for a while, but his small body has extremely strong mobility. On a long stick is a ground chicken with a scorched yellow smell. This is a special soul beast in the Lost Canyon. It tastes extremely delicious. No matter what method is used to arrange it, the taste can exceed expectations. On the other hand, a tall child fanned the fire while shaking the ground chicken on the fire rack, sniffed his nose, and swallowed hard. There are two children adding firewood, but unlike the smiling faces of others, the two of them are more or less depressed. A few little girls sat together, surrounded by many unknown food materials and some special materials, all of which were ground from plants over thousands of years, and there was even something called sauce point. All they need to do is mix these ingredients and sauces together in proportion. A blue frog sat next to a large wooden barrel and laughed. Its voice was extremely weird, but it was very wanton, and it was very reassuring to listen to. And the middle-aged man next to the log leaned against the tree, yawning from time to time, his menacing blood-colored eyes only staring at the steaming food. How about greedy dad? Aren't the three boys of ZU too funny? They were entangled by the beast demon tree, and wasted the life-saving means I gave them. When I saw them, the three of them were lying there. You don't know how funny it is. As funny as it is. That's right, it was Fei and the others who started the huge bonfire in the Mizzen Grand Canyon. Fei was busy making water and fire crabs into different delicacies in different layers, and then Yan tried roast chicken with a very special flame attribute, while Ziyu and Zhujiangxing beside him added firewood for Fei and Yan. But controlling the fire is also very important in cooking. Fei naturally did it by himself. After following Tang Hao for so long, he learned how to control the fire, and the operation is completely smooth. And Yi Lanshan, Hu Lina, and Huora began to prepare sauces and the like, based on the ingredient list Fei gave them, and the seasonings that Guagua brought back. What's so funny? Hey, when did you say that you can cook well? The old man's spirit brew is exuding an intoxicating aroma. Undead Douluo yawned for a long time, and patted the huge wooden barrel beside him, which seemed to contain something extraordinary. Come on, Brother Destroyer has done a lot, so it's normal for the time to be longer. On the contrary, the two of us seem to feel a little sorry for sitting here. Guagua leaned back on the wooden barrel, and sucked in the air deeply. The wafting aroma. That's because you feel sorry. I'm not afraid. You hurry up, and work on behalf of the old man. Immortal Douluo raised his hand and slapped him, and an invisible force directly slapped Guagua, who was lying on his back, to Fei's side. Ah. Guagua wailed unwillingly, but when he landed steadily, he saw the trio of grilled chickens with sad faces, and couldn't help laughing again. Haha, you to learn from Yan. You see that he doesn't feel it all. You two are like someone who owes you millions of gold soul coins, and doesn't pay you back. Don't be sad. Look at Brother Destruction and Sister Life doesn't have that kind of life-saving means. If you don't have it, then you should work harder to cultivate. Otherwise you won't be able to do anything if you encounter a few thousand-year-old monster. Trees. Yan shook the grilled chicken stand and said, yes, you guys smell it. How is the aroma of this grilled chicken? I followed Xiaofa's method to control the fire completely, and my arms were almost sore. But with the addition of this tangy aroma, it seems that I'm not so tired. Zhu Jiangxing and Ziyu glanced at the roast chicken and swallowed their saliva involuntarily, but the depressed expression on their faces did not dissipate, and even deepened. Ugh. Brother Destroyer, how's it going? Is it coming soon? What kind of delicious food did you make? The aroma is so special. It smells even better than roasted chicken. Guagua stuck out his tongue and his figure suddenly grew bigger. At least he could see the things placed on Fei's table. There was boiling oil in a big pot, and the golden things were piled up on the plate, and the rich aroma could still be seen inside. Crystal water crab meat. Fei took a look at Guagua. Oh, this fried crab. This is just a side dish. We will have hot pot tonight. It is a very delicious food that is suitable for all of us to eat together. It is also convenient. It is ready. We can eat when Brother Ziyu and the others finish roasting the chicken. Lanshan, how's the sauce? Is the mix finished? Hot pot. In this situation, it is the most comfortable to sit around and eat hot pot, and now this season is also the most suitable for eating hot pot. The configuration of the sauce is also very important, but what Fei thought was that there might not be so many fancy sauces in this world, right? However, the materials Guagua brought him gave Fei a more detailed judgment. Hot pot? What is that? Why have I never heard of it? It's ready. Yi Lanshan picked up a bowl filled with delicious sauce. Okay. Fei gestured, and then cleaned up the huge stone table prepared earlier, and took the prepared side dishes on one side of the wooden table one by one. Then Fei took another look at the roast chicken that Yan was roasting. The charred surface had reached the most delicious stage. Absolutely delicious hot pot base. Fei stretched out his hand and took out a solidified red hot pot base from the King ring. The Villain of Chaos is amazing. I fed all kinds of sauces and peppers to the Villain of Chaos, and it directly fused them into such a special hot pot base according to my intentions. The Villain of Chaos is really good. It is a must-have for home travel. With the attribute improvement of the Chaos Villain, even these ordinary ingredients have special blessings, just like I used to cook with the Chaos Wuhan before, and the taste is doubled. Chaos Villain is similar to a reactor in human form. As long as you feed it something, it will feed back something more special to you. But this can be regarded as spit out, right? It's not right. It's mainly due to the power of the 7 emotions ring. I just use the chaotic villain to give it special attributes, so that it has a nourishing effect, but still it's not in this solidified state, so I have to talk about the function of the King ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 206 7 Loves. 7. The sky full of stars is hidden in the hazy mist. When the mist is full, it gives people a sense of mystery, but it is really comfortable after being illuminated by the bright moonlight. Fei and his party are sitting around the stone table below, as if they are what are you talking about? Spirit brew. Immortal Douluo lifted the wooden barrel on the side, and when undead Douluo opened the wood, the diffuse fragrance wafted out instantly, and the ethereal white air visible to the naked eye, surrounded Fei and the others in a wonderful way. Many dishes have been placed in the soup pot with boiling red oil. Looking at these dishes, Fei couldn't help but lament how extravagant they are. The ingredients are almost hundreds or thousands of years old, and are precious ingredients that no one else has ever heard or seen. For example, the 1000-year-old velvet mushroom, when it is picked, will have a 1000-year soul ring. The extremely special ingredients only grow in the Lost Canyon, and they taste extremely delicious, and grow by absorbing the true mist. Another example is the Millennium Linglang silkworm. This special soul beast has extremely high medicinal value. After being swallowed, it can strengthen the foundation and nourish the vitality, and it can also cultivate its own soul power and improve the attributes of its own soul power. Luxury is really too luxurious. What's the matter with this feeling? This floating white mist seems to have extremely dignified soul power, which seems wrong. It seems to be deeper than soul power. I feel like my whole body is bathed in special soul power. Covered by the surrounding special mist, everyone behaved very comfortably. Mr. Immortal, what is this? What's in this wooden barrel? Fei looked at the huge wooden barrel. These special mists came from this wooden barrel, so the things in this wooden barrel must be not simple. Guag was said excitedly, this is elf brew. Elf brew? What is spirit brew? Fei said, could it be related to the elves in the Lost Grand Canyon? I've heard that some monkeys can brew special alcohol, so is this elf brew also wine? Undead Douluo poured out the contents of the barrel to Fei and the others. The clear liquid is like clear water, but it is surrounded by a layer of white air, which dissipates after a short while in contact with the air, leaving only this special clear water. However, Fei felt that the soul power in the air around him had suddenly multiplied many times. The soul power in the Mizzen Grand Canyon was already very strong, but after being doubled like this, it seemed to have reached a state that was about to solidify. Immortal Douluo smiled slightly and tapped the stone table lightly with his fingertips. This elf brew is not wine, so you can drink it at ease, so you won't get intoxicated. And what Fei said is not bad. This elf brew is made by the elves in the Lost Grand Canyon. This stuff is very precious. Just like this, I have accumulated it for nearly 100 years. This thing is a 10-year-old vine. The liquid on the leaves is roughly the condensed body of soul power, and the elves collected the liquid and brewed it to this extent using a special method. The product of 10-year-old vines? Fei was stunned. He didn't think there were many 10-year level soul beasts, but after entering the Lost Canyon, he felt that his understanding of the world was too one-sided. Right. It turns out that there are so many special soul beasts and plants in this world. I really don't know if I don't understand it carefully. The effect of this spirit brew is also very subtle. Everyone has a different effect when drinking it. You will only know where it will appear after drinking it. However, this thing cannot help people improve their soul power. If you increase your soul power, I won't let you drink it anymore. After all, your little fellow's soul power is already so high now, and your immature mind really may not be able to control such soul power. Does everyone drink differently? I want to drink. I want to drink. Yan grabbed the cup on the table and looked at the elf brew, which was as clear as water inside. Then without any hesitation, he picked it up and drank it down in one gulp. Ah. Smacking his mouth happily, Yan savored it, like drinking. It doesn't seem to have any smell. It's cool and refreshing. The heat from the hot pot seems to have dissipated completely, and the whole body seems to be much more transparent. Apart from this, it seems that there is nothing else. Or is it that the stamina is not there? Boy Yan, you can really do it. You can't drink this thing like this. If you drink a cup directly, how can you taste it? You have to drink slowly and slowly to taste the inner feeling, and because the effect that varies from person to person is not manifested on the spot, you need to settle for a while. That's it. Then I'll have another cup and taste it slowly. Guagua said, you are really capable. Even you human titled Douluo may not see a drop of this thing in your life. You just take a big cup, but I like your bold personality very much. Haha. The dish is ready. Eat it quickly and then put it in. If it is overcooked, it won't taste good. How about trying this hot pot I made? It's a bit spicy, but you should be able to eat a little spicy. Fei picked up Yi Lanshan's bowl, picked out some delicious things in his opinion, put them in the bowl, and handed it to Yi Lanshan. Try it. The meat of this water and fire crab is coated with special flour and fried very well. You don't need to dip this stuff, as it will destroy the original taste of this fried crab. I think it's pretty good. Yi Lanshan nodded and tasted the fried crab highly recommended by Fei. Take a small bite and smash it. The originally indifferent face is filled with a happy expression of tasting delicious food. It's delicious. He didn't forget to mutter a word of praise at the end. Damn it, Xiaofizi can do it. This thing is so hot. Drink this spirit brew after eating. Even if you give it any treasure, you won't change it. Guagua can't hold chopsticks, but it can be used directly. The soul power turned into something similar to chopsticks and directly put the food into his bowl. Yes, the old man has never tasted such delicious food. Hot pot. It's really amazing. Xiaofizi, why don't you leave in the future? Stay in the Lost Canyon and cook for the old man. Let's go. Undead Douluo eats very elegantly, but at an extremely fast speed, and he is not afraid of being hot at all, as if the hot feeling has been removed from the mouth. This doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay. Fei thought for a while that he is not a cook, and he still has his own goals. HMPH, Lanshan is the old man's apprentice. If you leave, Lanshan can't leave. You can figure it out. Immortal Douluo picked up the elf brew and drank it in big gulps. Ah, you don't want to play like this? Fei glanced at Yi Lanshan, who was eating hot pot with a sense of happiness, and then looked at the other people who were giggling. Instantly, he felt as if this was the true meaning of soul master cultivation. Right. Happy ending. End of this chapter. Chapter 207. 7 Loves. 7. The burning raging flames are soaring fiercely, making crackling sounds. Even in the Lost Grand Canyon at night, it is very gentle and suitable, and there is no sense of chilling that should be felt in cold seasons. Especially when sitting around eating hot pot, a group of people chatted freely about themselves and other people and various interesting things. Fei was lying on the chair brought by Undead Douluo. The extremely comfortable and soft silk on the back was very suitable for lying on it after a meal and sleeping for a long time. Lanshan, your appetite is really big. Are you not afraid of getting fat? Seeing Yi Lanshan still eating, Fei couldn't help but tease her. From the very beginning, Yi Lanshan ate there, and after Fei was full, Yi Lanshan didn't seem to stop eating, and her face was full of happiness. That's what good food brings. Yi Lanshan muttered, chewing the food in her mouth lightly. I eat more because it's delicious. What if I can't eat it in the future? Can't eat it? Fei shook his head. How is it possible? If you want to eat it, I will make it for you every day. That's it. Then I won't eat it. Just wait until you make it for me every day. Putting down the chopsticks in his hand, he picked up the cup and took a sip of the elf brew. Yi Lanshan moved behind very satisfied, as if thinking to stand up and move around. Other people have already sat in the distance and looked up at the starry sky to see the shining stars. Undead Douluo and Guagua were walking, saying that they had to exercise after eating, otherwise it would be bad for their health. Let's go to see the stars too. Ji-Fei stretched out his hand and took Yi Lanshan's hand actively, then pulled Yi Lanshan and walked towards Ziyu. Looking at the stars, Yi Lanshan raised her head subconsciously. It seems pretty good. Why didn't I feel that the galaxy in this sky is so bright when I watched it before? Because I'm here. Well, it must be like this. Ji-Fei patted his chest. It is precisely because you have such a bright galaxy that you can set off your uniqueness. Cut, poor-mouthed. Although Yi Lanshan said so, she was more or less happy in her heart. The rigid guy in the past finally got the hang of it this time, same as when we first met. Oh, no, my teeth are a little sore. No, my eyes are a little sore. This sour smell of love, both of them are like this. I just don't want people to live. Hulina held her eyes and looked at Ji-Fei and Yi Lanshan said to each other pat. Ziyu raised her hand and tapped Hulina's little head. What is the sour smell of love? Will it turn into a sweet smell of love when you get over with that in the future? Almost, the one after me is sweet. Cut, you are a small ghost. Ziyu looked at the bright moon reflected in the sky and fell into deep thought. Is she okay in the Wuhan temple? Zinger. Hey, Nana, do you think brother Ziyu is also yearning for spring? Yan beside Hulina pointed to Ziyu who was lost in thought while looking up at the starry sky. Feeling Yan's breath, Hulina's complexion suddenly changed and said falteringly, this, maybe, didn't my brother have a good relationship with that and that Li Xingqi before? Haha, maybe he was thinking about her, maybe. Nana, what's wrong with your face? Are you uncomfortable? Or is it that my flame attribute has reached the point where you feel very hot just sitting here? It shouldn't be, I don't even feel that way. Yan raised his hand to feel it and touched his face. Hands are cold. PFFT. Huo Ro, who was leaning on Zhu Jiangxing's side, immediately laughed when she saw this scene. Zhu Jiangxing, who was drowsy, was taken aback. He opened his sleepy eyes and looked at Huo Rao in confusion. What? Rao? Huo Rao secretly pointed to Hulina and Yan. Look, second brother and third sister. Second brother is really stupid to a certain extent. Ji-Fei sat on the ground and Yi Lanshan leaned on Ji-Fei's side, holding the ground with both hands. Ji-Fei also looked at the bright starry sky. It's so beautiful. So the sky is so beautiful when you look at it calmly. This is hazy beauty. It's beautiful because of the mist, but looking at the tiny stars does have a special feeling. Ji-Fei, what do you think we will become in the future? Yi Lanshan turned her face sideways. He looked at Ji-Fei seriously. Ji-Fei blinked and thought for a while. Who knows? I haven't thought about this problem all the way. Since I awakened my martial soul and officially started to know the world, I don't seem to have any fixed goals. Of course, protecting you is one. The others seem to have nothing. Just protect me? Yi Lanshan lowered her head. It's still the same. What's the same? Nothing. Just remembered something. Ji-Fei smiled and said, hey, you really look like an old witch who has lived for a long time with my storytelling look. You're an old witch. You're full of old witches. Yi Lanshan raised her hand and hit Ji-Fei's arm gently. It's the heart, not the whole body, but the whole heart. Of course, if you are an old hag. It would be great if we could do this in the future. I hope nothing special will happen. Otherwise, my dream seems to be shattered again. Yi Lanshan said to herself. Dream? Lanshan, what is your dream? Do you want to tell me? If possible, I can help you. Ji-Fei was a little strange. It turned out that Yi Lanshan also had dreams. Is it a dream? I'll tell you about that kind of thing later, when the time comes. Even if I tell you now, it doesn't make any sense. Is that so? Ji-Fei became even more curious. You must tell me after that. Well, sure. I hope you will choose to refuse. Of course, Yi Lanshan said this in a very small voice, so small that only she could hear it. How is everyone resting? Immortal Douluo and Guagua wandered around for a long time, and then slowly came to Ji-Fei and the others with their hands behind their backs. Looking at undead Douluo's indifferent expression makes people feel more at ease. At least there will be no devil's admonition. The admonition during the day made them feel good, and they don't want to experience it for the second time in this life. But this kind of indifference, the expression on his face, seems to make people more frightened. It's okay, I've been resting since noon, and now I'm basically fine except for a little bit of sleepiness. Fei waved his hands boredly. Staying up late is definitely top notch, and this ability, after becoming a soul master, it's even stronger. Even if you don't sleep all night, it's not a problem at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 208 7 Loves. 7. The solemnity of the atmosphere has always been the feeling that Fei and the others had after they discovered that undead Douluo's expression had frozen. The bright moonlight fell on undead Douluo's stiff face, and the others could see it very clearly, so their bodies tensed up involuntarily. A mere "have you rested?" is enough to make Fei and the others tremble with fear. Hearing Fei's answer, immortal Douluo looked at the others. Well, that's right, when you're practicing, you act like you're cultivating, and I don't care how you fight or make trouble in normal times. The old man is also pretty good. Fei and Yi Lanshan looked at each other. Undying Douluo was different from the other guys. He didn't have that kind of disdainful arrogance at all. Even on weekdays he was really like the big brothers of the 7 of them. Guagua, are you taking advantage of me? Talk about your plans for the future, at least for the next few years. Future plans? Fei moved. Tang Heo told himself that he would come to pick him up in person in a year, but now he is not in Wuhandian Academy, but in the Lost Canyon. According to what Guagua said, even the powerhouses at the title Douluo level are very reluctant to enter the Lost Canyon. Fei secretly compared undead Douluo and Guagua. The two of them looked gentle and elegant, as if they were fighting against the 5 scum, but they didn't know whether they were soul masters or not. As Yi Lanshan said before, perhaps soul masters were only a few days ago for them. I started to practice, but it's like playing a house. I don't have to be afraid of skills, spirit rings and so on. Future plans. Undead Douluo nodded. Tomorrow you will conduct a team trial, which is not easy. The huge trial site built by the old man and Guagua will be designed with various terrains, and also have various soul beasts. Restraining your respective martial spirits is a test for your respective cooperation, and it is also a test for your endurance. For you, I just want to train in the strictest way. I don't care about ordinary physical exercises, meditation exercises, and it's not suitable for you. Fighting with soul beasts is the best way to grow. Every time you experience the baptism of the special breath of a soul beast, every time you fight with a powerful soul beast, this is a good thing for you. Immortal Douluo paused. However, it is also necessary to properly fight with soul masters. After all, your future enemies will not be soul beasts, but the same soul masters. Immortal Douluo looked at Ziyu, Yan, and Hulina, and said in a gentle voice, you probably know the reviews of your spirit hall, right? The 3 of Ziyu looked at each other. The other 2 didn't say anything but just lowered their heads. Only Ziyu was not afraid of those things, and said to undead Douluo, Mr. The Hall of Souls will use all means to include it, and if it cannot be included, will it be killed? So exaggerated. Fei glanced sideways at Ziyu, but there was no exaggeration in Ziyu's eyes, as if this was a perfectly normal thing. That's right, that's it. Then do you know why this old man dares to let you guys improve so fast? Of course, the 3 of you are originally from the Wuhan temple, but the other 4 are not, and the old man is not from your Wuhandian either. Why? Ziyu asked with a puzzled expression. Fei also looked at undead Douluo. This question is actually very simple, so he must not be afraid. Existences like undead Douluo would definitely not be afraid of the spirit hall, and in a place like the Lost Grand Canyon, even a bunch of soul masters might not be able to enter this depth. And as a quack, the 10-year level soul beast itself is the most top level temptation for soul masters. Since undead Douluo dared to speak out, he would not be afraid of any self-defeating guy. It's very simple. The old man has also met your Pope Bibidong, and the old man gave her a choice. Either destroy or follow what the old man said. So domineering. Fei looked sideways. This undead Douluo seemed to be careless when he said this, as if the so-called Pope and Wuhan temple was a very simple little person to him. He said it was a choice, but he definitely said it in a commanding tone from Ziyu said, Master Undead, don't worry, of course it won't be detrimental to your spirit hall. Otherwise, do you feel that the old man will teach you as the instructor of the Academy of Spirit Hall? Existences like ours can't interfere with the mainland too much, unless there are drastic changes. What the old man wants to do is want a relatively stable environment, that's all. Immortal Douluo thought for a while, and then continued, for you guys, meeting this old man is an opportunity, and it's also an arrangement. Originally, this old man was only going to accept Fei kid, but your luck is pretty good. The old man can see that you all have the posture of Douluo, so I can't help but teach it. And the combination of you little guys reminds me of the way we old guys were together before, but it's a little different from you. We are not looking for a partner among 7 people. Ziyu looked around awkwardly when Undead Douluo said so. It seems that I'm more similar. Perhaps you will make waves on this continent in the future, but that's nothing more than 100 years of dominance. Title Douluo also has a limited lifespan, so even if you succeed, cherish every day. Next, what the old man wants to say is, your future tasks, very important tasks. Do you still remember what the old man said in Jia City Soul Arena? Fei recalled for a moment. We will also participate in soul fighting battles in the future? Immortal Douluo nodded. That's right. The old man has learned about the soul arena, and it is definitely the best place to fight with soul masters. When you are almost trained in fighting soul beasts, the old man will allow you to fight. I went to the Wuhei city near the Mizan Grand Canyon for a soul fighting battle. Of course, only winning and not losing is allowed. Just like fighting a soul beast, show this old man the courage to die if you fail. Undead teacher. Yan suddenly raised his hand, slightly suspicious. Speak. I remember that, if you win in the soul fighting field, you will be rewarded with soul coins. Your real purpose, teacher Undead, is actually to want us to make money, right? Sincerely, honest brother Yan, although we all know it, don't make it so obvious, okay? Fei secretly delighted, but Undying Douluo's purpose is obviously mostly in this regard. End of this chapter. Chapter 209 7 Loves, 7. This one. Immortal Douluo's face darkened when he heard Yan's words. What are those soul coins to this old man? You really think this old man is too greedy for money, right? The immortal teacher is not greedy for money. This is the funniest joke I've heard today. That's right. There may not be many soul coins, but they will definitely not escape the hands of the undead teacher. But if it is not for the golden soul coins, the undead teacher may not like it. Immortal Douluo said solemnly, letting you participate in the soul fighting field is only to let you fight with other soul masters. Only after going through uninterrupted battles can you find out the fighting methods of other soul masters. Now the battle with soul beasts will exercise you. The most important thing is the way of fighting with boldness and real leapfrogging. Fei thought about it for a while. That's right. Every time you fight with a soul beast, it's much more special than fighting with an ordinary soul master. Most of the fighting methods of soul masters are to release soul skills sequentially, or in combination according to the rules, especially if a single soul master is singled out, unless it is a battle soul master with a kind of beast spirit, claws and attack. But when fighting with soul beasts, the strong attack power of the soul beasts and the unique fighting style that does not follow the rules are the most unique training methods for every soul master, and it is also the best way to improve their adaptability and combatability way. According to what Teacher Undead said, Fei thought about it. The gap between soul beasts and soul masters was huge. Simply speaking, how could a soul beast that had lived for so many years be so easily defeated by a soul master who had only practiced for a few decades? Mr. Undead's consciousness is that the battles between soul beasts and soul masters are different, but if you can skillfully fight with soul beasts, even fighting with soul masters will become much easier. This is called directly facing the difficult soul beast, and then facing the soul master. After familiarizing yourself with it, you will definitely be able to erupt with stronger and unrivaled power. Undead Douluo nodded. Well, what Fei said is similar, but fighting with soul masters is not so easy. Fighting with soul beasts, they don't think about it, and only use powerful power to deal with their opponents. The reason why hundreds of thousands of soul beasts can't even beat some newly grown soul masters. However, when fighting a soul master, you need to consider the variables that will arise, the cooperation between the soul master, and the combination of martial arts, soul rings and soul skills. Depending on the soul master's soul skills and soul rings, in other words, different variables of martial spirits will also be different. This is what you need to face in the second stage of training. Phase 2. Fei didn't expect undead Douluo to have thoughts so far. It's really scary. It's just that now he just passed his personal trial and 7 people teamed up to fight against a water and fire crab. That's all. Tomorrow or even the next period of time, I'm afraid that there will be a long period of time where it is possible to fight with the soul beast. This may be a truly terrifying place. After all, no one wants to fight with soul beasts all day long. Although undead Douluo said that soul beasts are not good at thinking, so it is enough to defeat them with stronger power than it. But soul beasts are not good at thinking. Can the power of the beast really be underestimated? Of course it is impossible. Ahem. Cough. According to the old man's understanding, this soul fighting arena is divided into individual battles, 2-person battles and 3-player battles, which can be followed in turn. The upper limit of the number of people is 12. The 7 of you also competed with the group from GeoCity Soul Master Academy. The students have fought, and you all know the basic rules. So in the future, the 7 of you will also enter Wuhei City to participate in 7 team battles, individual battles, and team battles, so that you can make up for it in all aspects. Your respective deficiencies can also temper the negligible gap between you and a soul master. Actually, the old man didn't want to put the second stage of the trial in the spirit fighting arena. It seems that it is a good choice to go back to the Wuhandian Academy to fight those students, but after thinking about it, those students are basically those who have no fighting skills. Students who only have knowledge and experience in their experience, have no soul power, and their combat effectiveness is not much different from that of the 5 scum. But those soul masters who can fight in the soul arena are completely different. Their valuable combat experience and methods are what you need to learn. Your alternative mentor. So what do you mean by undead teacher? Set up a team. The old man has already talked about it to this extent. Don't you still know? Set up a combination of 7 of you and officially start tomorrow's trial. The old man is going to lead you to Wuhei City in 3 months. Then there is a soul fighting battle, and if the old man remembers correctly, there are cards for fighting souls, right? Each level represents a different strength. Do you know the specifics? Fei and the others glanced at each other, then shook their heads together. Apparently they knew less about the soul arena than undead Douluo. They even said that apart from fighting once in the soul arena, I don't know about the others. But one thing is the most important, that is, as long as you can defeat your opponent, no matter what kind of rules you have, you can't be restrained, and only in this way can you win the final victory. Let's talk about this after we arrive in Wuhei City. First of all, come up with a team name that suits all of you. Although it is just a simple team name, it represents your overall morale. Is it a name? Fei thought for a while. From the perspective of the 7 of them, each of them is different. If they are forced to merge all of them together, it will be quite obscure. How about a big money 7? Guagua yelled such a shameful name while dancing. Well, this name is very good. It sounds like you are fighting with the determination to win. Only when you win, will you be rewarded with soul coins. Therefore, the meaning of this name is very novel. Guagua thinks well. Immortal Douluo seriously analyzed the name Quack uttered, and it could be seen from his expression that his heart was obviously very moved by such a strange name. No, please don't. That's right, if it's called this name, I've already thought that when we appear on the stage, if there are soul masters or people watching the battle, they will definitely laugh at us to death. Absolutely not. That's right, you should leave such a name to Mr. Guagua. If you want to participate in the soul fight, then you should choose such a name for yourself. We are determined. No. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210. We are 7 sons. Make big money? Fei refused without even thinking about it. This is really too weird. It is not the name of a team at all. During the battle, the referee will introduce the two teams. There are 10 teams, and their opponents, the big money team. I vomited. In that case, I would rather hide under the table and tremble. Even if I was beaten to death, I would never appear on stage with such a name on my back. Seeing that Fei and the others were so resistant, Immortal Douluo waved his hands helplessly. Well, it's not called making a lot of money, so what do you call it? Think of someone who can make the old man listen to you, and you must the domineering kind. Although they rejected Guagua's proposal, but when they really came to their own minds, they basically filled their heads with some useless words, which did not conform to the words such as smooth and domineering that undead Douluo said. Fei looked at Yi Lanshan. Lanshan, do you have any good suggestions? Yi Lanshan thought for a while, her red lips parted slightly, and the two words hit Fei's ears. Fei's expression was a bit weird, but he savored it and counted it. Indeed, judging from the number of people, Yi Lanshan's proposal was really good. No, it should be said to be perfect. 7 sins. Just call them 7 sins. Gluttony, greed, laziness, jealousy, arrogance, lust, and anger. Each of the 7 of us represents one kind. Just right, even perfect. As soon as Fei said the words, Immortal Douluo froze instantly. He stared at Fei in disbelief. Fei, why do you want to use such a pronoun to give them a few? Do you know what this means? Guagua hurriedly stopped. How can this be? These 7 pronouns cannot be distributed to them. This is absolutely impossible. If those guys find out, it's dead. It's dead. Absolutely not. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? I feel that these 7 pronouns are quite suitable for the 7 of us. Fei saw undead Douluo and quack with strange expressions. What I'm talking about is not kiking, but the 7 sins of darkness and kiking. By the way, doesn't Teacher Guagua often call undead Teacher greedy? Why? Is there a connection? But I think the title Liu brother gave is very nice. Ziyu was also a little puzzled. Undead Douluo and Guagua, actually there is such a big reaction? Immortal Douluo suddenly laughed, very confused. Okay, the new generation of kiking? Since you said it, then even we have no way to refute it. But yes, we all have it now. With their new identities, it seems a bit outrageous if they continue to bear this title. Lonely? Fei's expression became even weirder, and he glanced at Yi Lanshan. What's going on with Lanshan? Why do you feel that Teacher Undead looks very disappointed? Maybe it's reluctance. Yi Lanshan replied like this. Reluctant? Fei thought about what Quack mentioned before. There are a total of 16 such existences as the Undead Teacher, and they each have their own titles. Mr. Undead, you're overthinking. Do you know why I gave the 7 of us such names? Fei looked up at Undead Douluo, who was a little lonely. Why? Fei replied, the times are advancing, and the name that has been silent for so many years must be revealed to the world again. I will take over your title and announce to the world in the name of greed that the 7 emotions that once belonged to the ancient era have once again come in the world. What this time brings them is no longer relief but real rule. Each of us will bear the responsibility of this name, even if we don't really get your inheritance, but we are honored to be able to use your once fight for the name of the present age. Immortal Douluo looked at Fei in surprise. You said, you want to use my greed? Fei nodded. That's right. Lanshan inherits the name of laziness. Laziness is the evil god Douluo, and Lanshan is similar in ability. Is that so? Immortal Douluo moved, and began to re-examine the 7 Feis. It seemed to be exactly the same as what Fei said. These guys had almost the same personalities as his friends. Quack also yelled strangely. It seems to be true. If Brother Destroyer and Sister Life replace greed and laziness, arrogance is an evil moon. Lust is Hulina. Jealousy is Zhujiangxing. Anger is soft. Gluttony is Yan. Ziyu and the others were a little at a loss, feeling that what Guagua was talking about was their respective personalities and martial arts abilities, which were their weaknesses, that Fei had mentioned before. Arrogant. Ziyu notes that she is a very arrogant person. If she doesn't really recognize a person, no matter what the other party's background is, she will definitely look down on him. Lust. Hulina's two-tailed demon fox martial soul is definitely in existence, that everyone is addicted to in terms of charm and senses. Jealousy. Zhu Jiangxing also knows that he is very jealous, and it is because of jealousy that jealousy arises. Angry. Huo Rao has a violent temper. Usually, he is kinder to Zhu Jiangxing. If you treat other people, your fiery temper will definitely scare them to death. Yan. Yan means I don't eat much. Yan seems to be a bit. Jifei then realized that Yan doesn't seem to fit with gluttony, but it doesn't fit with anger either. Yan's personality is very gentle, even funny. No. Immortal Douluo said very excitedly, gluttony means devouring, and Yan is very suitable. His martial spirit and character both gather all the injustices on himself. This is gluttony, and everything can be swallowed, whether it's other people's mood, or whatever. Is that so? Jifei looked at Yi Lanshan with some embarrassment. Lanshan, your laziness seems to be. My quiet and lazy personality is just right for me, but you, if you don't consider other things, are just as greedy for money as teacher undead. Yi Lanshan pursed her lips and chuckled. It's really suitable. Jifei scratched his head and glanced at Undead Douluo. Mr. Undead, what do you think? Undead Douluo was very excited, so excited that he even seemed incoherent. Yes, that's it. Only me and that lazy guy are still active on this continent, and those few people on other distant continents. The guy once asked the old man to find an heir for them if possible. Maybe you can really do it, but it's not the time yet. You should be able to do it when you are about to reach title Douluo. It's just the old mans and the lasers. It's definitely not enough, but it may be the luck of the old man and the lazy guy to be named by the two of you. Others really don't have such treatment. End of this chapter. Chapter 211, Stepping to the Top. 7 Sins? Arrogant. It seems to be a really good title. I like it. Ziyu kept murmuring about his nickname, which not only reminded him not to be too arrogant, but also gave the other party a false impression. Since you are called arrogant, you must be a guy who is easily impulsive. In this case, the other party will specify a method to deal with Ziyu. But what they didn't expect was that this arrogance is a synonym, which symbolizes the character that has passed away. Each of them savored their pronouns. Just as Jifei said, these pronouns seem to coincide with their personalities to some extent. Immortal Douluo looked at the group of children. The excitement in his eyes hadn't dissipated. Okay, it's really good. Maybe you can really reach that step, but work hard. Work hard if possible. This old man will introduce those old fellows to teach you truly precious things. I didn't expect that I could reach this level by accepting a few of you as students unintentionally. It's really unintentional. Mr. Immortal, what is the real precious thing you are talking about? Jifei asked with some doubts. From Jifei's own point of view, this title is of profound significance to Undead Douluo, so after Jifei chooses to do this, these titles are no longer simple pronouns for a group of them, but a kind of inheritance symbolizes a recognition in a true sense. Perhaps this is the most precious thing. Immortal Douluo smiled mysteriously. I can't talk about this for the time being. The old man just said that your current strength is too weak. Let's talk about it after you reach the top of the world. The premise is that you can reach that level. Is it the top of the world? Titled Douluo? Maybe it's just a matter of time for the few of us. Hearing Ziyu's words, Jifei shook his head. Maybe it's just a matter of time, but in essence we still need to work hard. Even though our talents are very strong now, we are far ahead of our peers. But if we don't go, if we continue to work hard, we may not be able to become a titled Douluo in the end. Why am I a glutton? If people hear it like this, it seems that I eat a lot. Woo woo woo. Yan squatted on the ground and stretched out his hands, spinning and drawing circles on the ground, with a depressed look on his face. Jifei and the others wanted to laugh. Yan's appearance really made people feel like a 5 or 6-year-old child, completely different from Yan, who was in the form of martial spirit. Second brother Yan, didn't Master Immortal also say that your gluttony is not because you eat too much, but because you are stronger than others? Among the 7 of us, if you want to talk about explosive power, your strength is absolutely, it is second to none. Jifei walked over and patted Yan on the shoulder to comfort the depressed Yan. Yan raised his head. That's all we know. In the eyes of others, my gluttony is just eating too much. Yan, if you really care about other people's eyes, then you should never become stronger. Stay in this state forever, or only if you are in this state, other people will not talk about you. Hulina's words reached Yan's ears, and Yan stood up abruptly, clenched his fists tightly, and his originally gloomy face gradually became normal, even with a slight sense of determination in the normal. Okay, that's the case. Then I will let the name of gluttony resound throughout the entire continent in the future, and even my name will be circulated for hundreds of thousands of years. Gluttony, Yan. Ha ha ha. The others couldn't help laughing when they saw Yan's determination for the first time. Compared with Yan's seemingly fierce appearance, in fact, the gentleness in his heart is more pleasing to the heart. But that's only among them. For outsiders, future opponents only know that a guy named Gluttony will kill him if he makes a move. And the guys who fought against this team called 7 Emotions, whether it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or 7-on-7 team battles, without exception, all of them die. Even a team of soul masters with a strong configuration can only survive when encountering the opponent's weird and unpredictable fighting methods dead. Later generations prefer to call them the 7 sins rather than the 7 emotions, because each of them seems to be a killing machine without any emotions in battle. But how did they know that the original group of teenagers was still a group of children who were joking with each other under the starlight? Your paths will eventually be forged by yourself, especially Ziyu, Hulina, and Yan, the 3 of you. Immortal Douluo's words are very ignorant, especially when he comes up with such a sentence from time to time. It's really uncomfortable to feel that feeling that you can feel, but you can't find it. After thinking about it carefully, Master Undead, what do you mean? Undead Douluo turned around. It's nothing. I just want to tell you 3, if you want to truly inherit that kind of power, you don't need to have any sense of belonging to Wuhandian. Your dedication to strength can only be recognized people. Of course, you are still young, so what you say to you may be malicious to the old man, but you will know in the future. Time will change everything. The so-called sense of belonging to power, everything is in front of no equal power will be worthless in the passing of time. The 3 of you looked at each other. Perhaps the Wuhan Palace was a shelter for them, and what they really belonged to was not the Wuhan Palace, but the master who saved them. Is it real power? What kind of feeling is the sense of belonging that Teacher Undead said? Maybe the sense of belonging is respect. Even though the requirements are very strict, I think it just wants us to grow up, that's all. Simple answer. Watching under the big tree, Fei and others began to rest. Immortal Douluo had already left, and he still kept the feeling of excitement when he left. Z fell asleep, but it was a novel way. There will be no special mist gathered around there, and at the same time, spirit beasts will never dare to approach here. After all, there is such a terrifying existence as croaking, and a little breath release casually is enough to deter the spirit beasts. One day of personal trials made all of them improve a lot. Compared with the previous way of training and learning the knowledge of soul masters, this way of sharpening themselves through fighting is completely for each of them. Progress is rapid, because failure may result in death, so their purpose is to destroy opponents, protect themselves, and protect teammates. End of this chapter. Chapter 212 A brand new trial. The first round of sunlight in the morning slowly rises above the Lost Canyon. Fei suddenly opened his eyes, breathing slightly to feel a fragrance. Looking at Lanshan who was leaning on her side with her light green long hair draped over her shoulders, those tightly closed sleepy eyes did not reveal a true beauty at all. Unexpectedly, there was no dew on his body. Fei did not move his body. Lanshan was still asleep, and everyone else was still asleep. It seems that, although he had rested for so long in the afternoon yesterday, he still couldn't fundamentally slow down. Woke up. There was a sudden light behind her, and Lanshan's weak voice sounded in her ears at the same time. Fei turned around and smiled slightly. I woke you up. No, it just wakes up naturally when the time comes. Well, everyone else seems to be asleep. Fei stood up, walked to the exclusive water storage device of Quagwa, used his soul power to guide clear water, to wash his face well, and felt a little drowsy instantly dispelled. The croak on the tree had already woken up at some point, leaning against the branch of the tree, holding his head in 2 frog hands, as if he was thinking about something. I woke up very early. You are here to prepare breakfast today. The ingredients are ready. Let's make porridge. Greedy dad brought those ingredients early in the morning. They should come later. Today's trial is very important to you guys. It may be a bit difficult for you, but it is not impossible if you work hard. After sorting out the ingredients, Fei couldn't help but be speechless. The preparation of this immortal teacher is really amazing. These ingredients are rare and precious ingredients that have been around for thousands of years. Why do you feel that I'm different? What's different? Yi Lanshan asked while washing her face. Fei raised his hand. A massive black and white intertwined soul power gathered in his palm. It's much richer. My soul power seems to be more pure than before, but I'm sure my level has not broken through. It's still level 34. What's going on here? Do you still remember the elf brew last night? It should be because of that. The effect of the elf brew is different for everyone who drinks it. Maybe it's because of this that your soul power is pure. Yi Lanshan explained. What about you, Lanshan? Have you ever felt that your soul power has become more pure? Or has your martial soul changed? This is the essence of improvement. Fei notes that most of their soul power is improved by relying on the power of the evil god spring, so it is normal to say that it is not pure. Chaos martial soul cannot use soul skills. So Fei couldn't feel the special changes in the main martial soul, but could only feel the change in the soul power, and he didn't dare to use the second martial soul. That breath alone might be able to wake everyone up from their sleep. That's not a good way to get out of bed. Me. Yi Lanshan thought for a while. My martial soul is a bit special, and even my soul power is also special, so no matter how much spirit brew I drink, I won't be able to improve much. That's right. But if you think about it, your martial soul is so special, and you may not be able to find a second one in the entire continent of the auxiliary soul skills you possess. To a certain extent, Yi Lanshan's auxiliary spirits are each extremely special existence, especially the soul skills, and the abilities represented by each soul skill are completely different. Is it special? It doesn't seem to be very special. These soul skills are the soul skills that a normal auxiliary system soul master should have. Fei paused with the hand holding the ingredients and said angrily, Lanshan, don't be joking. If your soul skills are called the soul skills that a normal auxiliary system should have, then our soul master should die. What? The two of you were whispering there early in the morning. The relationship is really good. Hulina slapped her face while walking towards Fei. Fei glanced at Hulina. So you're envious? Then go find second brother Yan. Hulina pouted. Forget it. I won't tell you. I came to see what breakfast you prepared. Although I ate a lot last night, I was a little hungry. It will be fine in a while. By the way, third sister, do you feel any special feeling in yourself? For example, special changes in soul power or martial soul? Hulina frowned. Is there? I don't seem to feel it. It seems a little bit. Raising her hand, a little bit of soul power continued to intertwine in her palm. Hulina didn't release her martial soul. She only needed to feel the changes in her own soul power to roughly determine whether her soul power had changed. It seems that the release of the soul power is smoother. For example, when I released the control soul skill before, the release of the soul power seemed a little too slow, but now it seems to be much faster. Or is this my own self-feeling? Yi Lanshan observed for a while. No, this should also be the function of the spirit brew. The function of the spirit brew is more to moisten the soul power of the soul master, and at the same time, help the soul master break through some of his own barriers. Is it the elf brew that I drank last night? Guagua teacher seems to have said that I must try it out when I fight the soul beast later. While tidying up, Fei said, the improvement of soul power is definitely a good thing for soul masters like us who rely on external forces to increase their level. But originally, according to what teacher Undead said, the soul power raised by the evil god spring will not. There is no difference between it and a normal soul master. But Master Undead still let us use fighting to train ourselves, which proves that a lot of fighting is the best way to practice. However, what I look forward to more is the battle with the Soul Masters in the future, at least defeating all Soul Masters in the name of Archaiking. But it is a pity that we cannot return to the Wuhandian Academy for class battles, otherwise, we will be able to fight against the Soul Masters in the name of King. Our strength is absolutely crushing all soul masters. Hulina said with a little regret. Compared to the soul masters in the academy, the soul masters in the soul fighting arena are the ones who need to be treated the most. Lan Shan is right. That's why we need to improve our fighting power and the cooperation between the 7 of us. Otherwise we will lose if we meet a soul master who is stronger than us. Hulina said, I don't think there will be. It might be more than a few of us, but if it exceeds the 2 of you, it's just a dream. At the age of 6 or 7, it has reached the soul power of more than 30 levels. Teacher Guagua, will you still fight with soul beasts in today's trial? Go directly to a team battle with soul beasts. After finishing their meal early, Fei and the others walked deeper into the Lost Canyon under the leadership of Guagua. To say it goes deeper is actually to continue to go deeper along that passage. End of this chapter. Chapter 213. The top of the target mountain. The trial site prepared by Undead Douluo and Guagua for Fei and the others is really huge. It is surrounded by a large number of dense forests, and the original terrain of the Lost Grand Canyon is expanded to create a more diverse trial environment. That's right. When Fei and his group passed through the lush and dense forest, they officially entered a section of uphill road, and at the end of the high slope in the distance, stood an unattainable mountain. The top of the mountain is hidden in the mist, but the distance visible to the naked eye may be thousands of meters long. The mountain is actually very similar to the mountains that can be climbed, but the part hidden in the mist gives people a sense of fear. Is it the fog that even croaks can't get rid of? Fei stood at the foot of the mountain and looked up towards the top of the mountain. Quack, could it be that this trial is for us to climb the mountain? Others also looked at each other. This mountain, if it is really a climb, it seems really difficult to choose. This height of the mountain, and will there be soul beasts and the like in the mist hidden in it? Not quite sure, isn't it? Such a high mountain? And it looks so steep, and we still want to climb it with such a small body? Yan looked like he was going to be exhausted before climbing, and he had no motivation at all. The surrounding mountains are all connected together, so if the trial site is behind this mountain, there is no other way to go there except to climb the mountain, and there is no way around it. Guagua said slowly, that's right, today's trial is this mountain, but you still think a little wrong. That is, climbing the mountain is only the first half-day trial, and you need to climb up this foggy mountain together before noon, and then on the top of the mountain is the trial in the afternoon. When you have really solved this mountain, you will be considered as having completed today's trial. What? Everyone looked up in disbelief at the towering mountains and the surging mist. Fei Chao walked around to see if he could roughly estimate how high the foggy mountain was. Unfortunately, it was futile. The field of vision that could be seen was about 802 meters. Everything is hidden in the mist. Obviously not as simple as Guagua said. But also, if you simply look at it, you won't think that climbing this mountain will be a simple matter. Can that use soul power? Ziyu asked. But in his opinion, it should be usable. After all, they have to climb to the top of the mountain before noon. For them, if they can use their soul power, it will take a little time. It is not something that cannot be done. What he is worried about, the most important thing, is the trial in the afternoon, after reaching the top of the mountain. Just like yesterday's trial. Each of them completed the personal trial yesterday almost perfectly, but they were not so lucky in the subsequent battle with the water and fire crabs. It was a mess of seamless tactical coordination. Ziyu hoped that such a problem would not happen today. They are a group. Undead Douluo bestowed the name of 7 emotions on them, not because he wanted to see trash who could not even climb a mountain, let alone a non-actionist who would only stomp his feet and think of a way when encountering things. What they needed to do was to use practical it is feasible to act to practice one's own ideas, and the rest will be completely defeated by the results. You can't use any soul power. Guagua said casually. Who should use soul power when a serious person climbs a mountain? A decent person. How is it possible? We can climb such a towering mountain with our bodies, and we can't use soul power. Although it is possible to climb up, but if we want to climb up before noon, hehe, it's really getting harder and harder. It's more interesting. Physical strength? That's not a problem for me. Fei didn't say much. He knew that, since Gua Gua would say that, there was a reason for it, and it meant that undead Douluo had his own ideas. So now Fei wanted to ask only what he wanted to know. Quack, how high is this foggy mountain? There won't be any spirit beasts attacking suddenly when we are climbing, right? If there are really spirit beasts flying to attack suddenly, it is absolutely impossible for us to fight back without using spirit skills. You didn't build a ladder for this foggy mountain. Quack said, of course there are no soul beasts, you just need to climb up. Of course, time is very important. From now on, do you think you can climb the 5,000 meter high Washan mountain before noon? 5.5000 meters? Brother Ziyu, slap me quickly, am I dreaming? Or are we sleepwalking here together? Zhu Jiangxing looked at his fragile body, but although the mouth is very fearful, but the idea of moving can't make him shrink back in the slightest. No, you'd better let fifth sister beat you. What I need to think about now is how can we reach the summit together with the 7 of us? Fei suddenly said. Time. We must first pay attention to the time. Hurry up. Let's think about these issues when climbing. Time waits for no one. There is still a period of time before noon. 5,000 meters. It is not impossible. Descent. Fei didn't know what Yilanshan's physical strength was like. As for himself, he was pretty good. A period of forging, the impact under the waterfall, and the training of controlling the soul power gave him a very strong patience. As for physical strength, climbing this mountain does not seem to be very difficult, and Fei still has a trump card, which will not touch the rules of not being able to use soul power at all. What he is most worried about is Yilanshan. Yilanshan smiled pretty. I can do it. I'm different from ordinary girls. If possible, I'll carry you behind my back. Just trust me. Fei spoke very seriously, and it's not impossible for Fei to go together behind Yilanshan's back. Well, if I can't hold on, you can carry me behind your back. Yilanshan didn't refuse anything. The relationship between the two of them didn't include rejection and hypocrisy. Hey, Rorao, if you can't hold on, I'll carry you on my back. Well, although I'm fragile, I can do it. Zhu Jiangxing raised his little arm, trying hard to show his muscles, but he worked hard. After a while there is nothing. Nana, it's okay, the big deal is that I will carry you on my back. Ziyu smiled slightly and walked towards the foot of the mountain. Forget it, with your body, I feel that I should do it by myself. Hulina shook her head helplessly. Nana, it's okay. If brother Ziyu can't do it, I'll come. I'm strong. I'm fine. I'm just climbing a mountain. What I'm most afraid of is the attack of a soul beast. But since teacher Gugwa said it, then I don't have any worries. Hulina was stunned for a moment, seeing that Yan had already walked away, and she was left stunned by the 7 of them, so she hurriedly followed. End of this chapter. Chapter 214 Climbing and Queuing. These kids. Guagua looked at Fei and the others who arrived at the foot of the mountain one after another, and shook his head. But I have to follow the whole process, and if the child really can't bear it, I have to help. But that can only be a critical moment. But this mountain has been remodeled, so there shouldn't be any major problems. Fei, who walked to the foot of the mountain, watched the gentle slope stretching upwards, and suddenly saw a path leading to the top of the mountain. If you follow the path, it seems that climbing this mountain is not too difficult things. This mountain seems to be different from ordinary mountains. Fortunately, it is not a cliff or something. Otherwise, even if each of us has wings, I'm afraid that we will not be able to fly to the top. If you're a sheepish way, looking at the road leading up, Fei looked at Yilanshan and the others behind him. Although he said that there were no soul beasts on this mountain, no one dared to say that there really were no soul beasts. Therefore, the first thing that needs to be done is to cut off all possible dangers from the source. Brother Ziyu, and everyone, this path should lead to the top of the mountain, but it is still unknown where the path will disappear, so we need to designate a queue to move forward to prevent soul beasts from appearing at the same time. We can also help each other. Ziyu nodded. That's right. Although teacher Guagua said that there are no soul beasts, but we have to be careful. Fei, you can arrange it. We will listen to you. Yes, 6th brother, you can arrange it. It doesn't matter if I lead the way. Yan raised his fist, declaring his mighty strength. Fei thought for a while, and then said, I will open the way. My soul power is the strongest, and as a control system soul master, I can also prevent emergencies. Langshan will follow behind me. In this case, if there is any danger ahead, Langshan and I will fight together. If there is a danger that I can't handle. Others looked at the rising cliffs on both sides of the trail. It was obvious that this road was at most one person walking forward, so the person who opened the road was definitely in the greatest danger. Is there any danger in the fog ahead? Also unknown. Then, behind Lanshan is Sister Nana. If Sister Nana stands in the middle of the team as a control system soul master like me, she can take care of both front and back. Although it is a bit difficult, Sister Nana, as a real control system soul master, it's better than me to control unknown monsters. No problem, I will definitely take care of both the front and back. Hulina patted her chest to convince others that she could do it. I can keep the martial soul released instantly. Fei nodded, then looked at the remaining 4 people. This is a difficult choice. Who will protect Sister Nana? If there are a large number of soul beasts coming, Lanshan and I will lead the way. Then Sister Nana, as a control type soul master, needs to be protected. Although control type soul masters also have very strong combat power, they can't exert range control in such a narrow passage. A single control like Ulina's is fine. If it is range control, even the teammates on one side will also be restrained. Fei's soul ability is also a different kind, and it's just the kind of power he has after being transformed by the Villain of Chaos. Who should protect it? Fei looked at Huo Raoan. They were considering what they said. Ziyu's words are definitely going to be broken, and Zhu Jiangxing will come to assist Ziyu so that it can be foolproof, and it is the best way to prevent danger from happening. For 2 people. Soon, Fei had his own thoughts. Then let Brother Yan protect Sister Nana. Brother Yan's attack power is quite powerful, and he also possesses flying soul skills that can protect Sister Nana in case of danger. Well, it's decided like this gone. Second Brother Yan is followed by Huo Ro, and then Giant Crossing. So, Brother Ziyu, I will leave the post-break mission to you. According to this formation, no matter what kind of soul beast we encounter, we can respond as soon as possible. Similarly, we can also cooperate with each other. Everyone nodded. Compared with quickly climbing to the top of the mountain, the first thing they need to do now is to eliminate some hidden dangers that may arise during the climbing process. Then let's climb according to the formation that Xiaofei said. Even if the trail disappears, and we really want to climb the cliff, we need to cooperate with each other. Only in this way can we complete the climbing task and reach the top of the mountain together and continue the afternoon trial. Refining. Yes. We can definitely do it. Although we are small in terms of physical strength, we are definitely not bad. After all, we have all been trained. Fei looked at his small body. After a period of good nourishment and the improvement of his soul power, he himself has become much more normal from his previous thin body. In other words, he has gained weight. In addition to my previous training, I can basically achieve a kind of strength and physical strength that surpasses that of adults. As for patience, Fei has been learning forging and fire control for several years, and patience is not a problem of. After stepping into the path, Fei walked in the front, looked up towards the edge of the cliff. He had a feeling that the high cliff was about to topple, and that kind of intense sense of sight really made people feel something was wrong. Especially when Fei looked towards the direction where the path extended. He could see a large area of fog continuously spreading over as far as his eyes could see. Because the surroundings were surrounded by cliffs, the incoming fog could only move towards Fei, attacking from their side. Perhaps because of the absence of croaks, these special mists were generated extremely quickly. Looking back, Fei looked at Lanshan, this fog seems a bit special, much more special than the fog in the dense forest in the Lost Grand Canyon. Lanshan poked her head sideways, looked at it for a while and said thoughtfully, it seems a bit special. It should be the special mist prepared by Guagua. However, there should be no danger to us, but there may be some soul beasts hidden in this mist. Anyway, we should be careful to deal with it. If there really are soul beasts, we have to use soul power. Is it? but it's true. If we don't have soul power, we probably won't have the slightest ability to resist against soul beasts. Looking back at the others were also looking around very vigilantly. It seemed that they were even more cautious about the unknown road ahead. Vigilance is still necessary. End of this chapter. Chapter 215. Difficult to move forward. 1. The surrounding fog swept in like a tide. The solid fog gives people a strong sense of oppression, as if people are sealed in the fog, and it is very difficult to breathe. Fei is very lucky. Fortunately, there is still such a trail for them to move forward. This is the only thing they can guide the way forward. If they climb this foggy mountain in a scattered manner, Fei believes that it will not take a while. The 7 of them will deviate more or less, and even get lost here. Visibility is too low. Fei reluctantly looked at his feet, stretched out his arm and slowly spread his 5 fingers. The 5 fingers were faintly visible in the condensed mist, appearing extremely swaying. Is this considered blind? Fei teased. Yi Lanshan, who was behind, said at the same time, this mist may also be a test. If I'm not wrong, we will have to climb the mountain to get through this road. Hulina, who was behind Yi Lanshan, was at a loss when she heard Yi Lanshan still said that she was going to climb the mountain. 7th sister, you can't guess wrong, right? Why do I feel that we have been in this fog for a long time? Since if the path hasn't disappeared for so long, then it must lead directly to the top of the mountain. It can't be that simple. Fei shook his head. As the height increases, the fog becomes denser, and the increase in height will make it more difficult for us to breathe. It's just difficult and not dangerous. If a spirit beast suddenly emerges from such a dense fog, if not, we will never be able to respond. Because Fei's forward speed is mainly at a uniform speed, if it is too fast, it will consume a lot of physical strength, which is definitely not a good choice for climbing cliffs, and everyone's physical strength must be taken into account. But if they are too slow, if they cannot reach the top of the mountain before noon after a long time, it is hard to say what punishment Guagua will prepare for them. The first time was simple cooking, which was also decided after Fei and the others had completed the trial. So what happens if you can't complete the task? Think about undead Douluo and Guagua, singing, a sullen expression, and an unreasonable mouth. Fei's head hurt extremely. And Sister Nana, what you said is a little wrong. We haven't been in this fog for a long time, at most a few minutes. I recorded the steps. We walked from the bottom of the mountain to the present with a total of steps. Besides, other steps are already small, and the speed is only a constant speed, so it won't take long. 500 steps, isn't it? I feel as if I have walked thousands of steps, and I feel a little difficult to breathe, and my chest is a little stuffy. Is this mist poisonous? No, it can't really. Is it poisonous? Hulina covered her nose and mouth and looked around in a panic. There is no top of the cliff, and the surrounding rock walls are connected together, and there is no special place at all. Yang behind him also walks very slowly. His steps are already big, so it is not very strenuous, but it can be seen that he is very careful and alert to the surrounding situation. At least when there is any danger, he must immediately keep Hulina safe. As for Huo Rao and Zhu Jiangxing, they didn't show any abnormalities, and they walked very fast, staring at the white mist with some novelty. Ziyu is at the end of the team, so he doesn't have to worry about the safety ahead. He just needs to pay attention to the back and the mountain walls on both sides. And as a battle soul master, he has more than 20 levels of soul power, although his physical strength is not as good as Shanghaian, but it can also be ranked in the top 3. Fei's intentions can be seen from the Ledoop. Not only for better defense and enemy defense, but also for adjusting the atmosphere of the entire team. The 7 of them have inherited the name of 7 emotions. What Undying Douluo wants to see is not that each of them has great strength, but that they can all harmoniously form an indestructible team. Regarding this point, what Fei can do is to achieve such a goal through slow running in and cooperation. If it is difficult, it is actually relatively smooth. For example, Ziyuan's words don't have the disgusting arrogance of bragging about his status all day long. Such a guy is the most disgusting. On the contrary, even if they were born in the Wuhan temple, they didn't have any arrogance. Maybe they had it at the beginning, but a lot of it has been cut off during this period of running in. If they fail to cooperate in battle, they will find their own mistakes and share them actively. Similarly, Fei is not afraid to point out mistakes, and only in this way can they cooperate with each other to show the strength of the team. The power of being alone is very powerful, but you will never appreciate the joy that comes from cooperation. And Fei is constantly enjoying this special fun, which belongs to the fun among friends. After climbing for a long time, Fei could see the road ahead without seeing the sun. Fei recorded the number of steps he had taken. 2,000 steps. It was as if there was a suffocating breath in my chest, and I couldn't get it out, no matter how much I opened my mouth, and it seemed that there was a big stone pressing on me, and I wanted to push it away, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move it away. Fei himself was fine, and Yi Lanshan was also in sync with Fei, always following Fei's pace and speed, which far exceeded Fei's expectations. But Ulina's condition in the back is not very good. Maybe it's because he really lacks some physical exercise, or because he really relies too much on soul power on weekdays. Ulina was panting as she walked. In such a suitable environment, there was a layer of sweat on her forehead, and maybe she had to stretch out her hands to hold onto the stone wall to walk. Normally, she would have been unable to hold back and wanted to talk, but this time it didn't. It was very quiet, and although he was panting heavily, his speed never slowed down. Fei was also a bit weird, but after walking 2,000 steps, he became what he is now. Fei walked sideways and looked at the others. He could vaguely see through the mist that the originally tight team had already drawn a certain distance. Although the distance is negligible, it is not difficult to guess that their physical strength has been consumed a lot. Lanshan, do you feel a little strange? What's the matter? Yi Lanshan asked puzzledly. At the same time, she began to look around her surroundings, looking for places she hadn't noticed. Fei pointed to Ulina. Sister Nana, could you hold on to the jagged stone wall before? I remember not. The distance between them is very spacious, right? Fei's words awakened all those who were struggling to move forward. End of this chapter. Chapter 216. Difficult to move forward. 2. Narrow? Is this trail narrowed? Or is it that the distance between the cliffs has narrowed? The answer is self-evident. Fei stretched out his arms towards the sides. Indeed, the mountain wall, which was so open before, couldn't accommodate Fei's outstretched arms. Perhaps it was because the surrounding fog gathered together for a long time, which led to the current situation. Fei didn't pay attention to such a strange phenomenon around him at all. After all, as long as you can still pass, you don't have to worry about whether the canyon will suddenly close, right? But watching Ulina walking forward while supporting the stone wall, Fei came to his senses. It seems that there are really many things blocked by the gathered fog. I really can't touch what I said before. Ulina looked incredible. Yang murmured in the back. Could it be that the mountain started to close inadvertently? This is the checkpoint for us to rush to the top of the mountain by Teacher Guagua. If we don't reach the top of the mountain within the stipulated time, the two mountains will be destroyed. Completely closed together? If that's the case. Ulina followed Yan's words and exclaimed, we will be crushed into meatloaf. Is that so? Yang nodded frantically. That's right. That's right. It's like this. When Fei looked carefully, he didn't seem to feel that the mountain wall was moving towards the middle. Maybe the speed was very slow, but Fei really couldn't feel such a force. Probably not. Maybe it's almost the end of the road. Let's go quickly. It doesn't matter whether it's really shrinking towards the middle or it's about to reach the end of the road. We don't have so much time. Hurry up and maybe reach the top of the mountain before noon, and it may go well. Hearing what Fei said, the others also nodded. There was only one solution in front of them, and there was no other choice. 2050 steps. If you calculate it carefully, it seems to have reached a central point. Sure enough, Guagua would not let us simply take the trail to the top of the mountain, otherwise it would be too inconsistent with its style. Guagua's way of doing things is always like this. It has to make things very troublesome, which is obviously very simple. It is called training resilience, but in fact it is just training patience. Fei's speed increased, and the others could barely keep up. Although it was said to be a 5,000 meter foggy mountain, Fei felt that it was far more than that. Moreover, the higher the foggy mountain goes, the more it has a special oppressive atmosphere. That special feeling is absolutely unmistakable, as if it is a kind of pressure exerted from above. But definitely not the poison hidden in the mist. Fei was sure of this. If it was poison, Yi Lanshan would have reminded him a long time ago, and Yi Lanshan was definitely the quickest to notice this method of hurting people hidden in the dark. Perhaps because she was afraid of being crushed into meatloaf, Hu Lina's exhausted look completely disappeared, and she closely followed the speed of Fei and Yi Lanshan ahead. Fei secretly sent a voice transmission from his mind. Lanshan feels that this is a good way of motivation. The emergence of a sense of crisis can always promote people's progress, no matter what it is. Yi Lanshan replied, that's true, but I'm worried what if the cliff is really closing? What if it's not about to reach the end as you think? Fei said, then what else can I do? Run quickly. Fei straightened his expression, strided out with strides, and his speed increased several notches. Even if he was climbing a hill, he couldn't slow down Fei's forward speed. After walking fast like this for a long time, the stone walls on both sides were so narrow that they needed to shrink their hands to pass through. This no longer allowed Fei and the others to move forward quickly, so they could only slow down and move forward. The fog gathered in front of the eyes is also very dizzy, which makes people feel very uncomfortable. I'm going. Isn't this too strange? After walking for so long, I haven't reached the end. If you look at it this way, could it be that the stone walls are really moving closer together? Fei also wondered if the mountain was moving. After walking for so long, the mountain wall was almost joining together, and he hadn't walked out yet. Fei turned around to look at Yi Lanshan with a lot of physical exhaustion. Yi Lanshan breathed evenly and didn't feel tired at all. Well, let's just skip it. In terms of physical fitness, Fei is completely inferior to Yi Lanshan recession. Well, Fei admitted even more that it seemed that nothing could compare to Yi Lanshan. I can't do it. I'm exhausted. This place. The place seems to be able to double my physical strength. I feel like I'm dragging a huge piece of iron under my feet. Leaning on the side of the stone wall, Hu Lina gasped heavily. Her body seemed unable to move forward even half a step. Because Hu Lina blocked the way forward, everyone behind stopped. In fact, without Hu Lina, I couldn't move anymore. As an agility attack system soul master, Huo Rao was already out of breath, let alone other people. Ziyu and Yan's physical strength was better, but their breath also became disordered. Ziyu shouted from the last scene, Zio Fei, it's the same as what Nana said. I feel that the more I walk forward, the heavier my body is, and I'm dragging some iron blocks under my feet, and I can't use my soul. It's really hard to say. And you look up. Fei stopped where he was and looked up after listening to Ziyu's words. The slope is getting steeper? Yes, the hillside is obviously raised in an arc. Perhaps this is why it is getting heavier and heavier. Yi Lanshan said, because of the fog, we don't know our situation at all. The fog seems to block all our senses, and it's really difficult to climb such a slope with only physical strength without being able to use soul power. It is difficult, and the stone walls on both sides also give people a sense of crisis. Is it psychological and physical pressure? Guagua really can grasp people's fear. There is no other way but to persevere, hold on to the jagged stone wall and climb up. I hope it will be there soon. But it is impossible to talk about soul beasts in such a narrow place, so the burden on my heart is also reduced. Persevere, maybe we will reach the end soon. Since it is going uphill, it means that we are climbing the hillside. According to the time, we can rest here for a while, and everyone adjusts ourselves. Although we want to arrive within the specified time, the acceleration of walking just now is not enough. Saved us a lot of time. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 Difficult to move forward. 3. The rest time always flies by quickly, but it has been a long time in the blink of an eye. Ji-Fei looked at most of the other people's physical strength and seemed to have recovered a lot. At least they wouldn't look out of breath anymore. And now it's time to move on. Let's keep moving forward. Ji-Fei turned around and shouted to the back. Well, let's go on. It's almost time to rest. That's right, we've almost recovered. We should be able to rush to the top of the mountain in one go. Don't waste too much time. I don't know if there will be any sudden danger in the future. We still have to be careful. Hulina reluctantly leaned against the stone wall, but most of the dense sweat had disappeared, which shows that she is also a kind of well-adjusted one, but her troubles will become more and more serious in the next journey. As he moved forward, the distance between the two stone walls did not continue to shrink, but this was not a good omen, and it was even because of this that the next series of annoying things happened. This slope. Ji-Fei's slightly backward-leaning body was stronger than before, which proved that the path was on a slope, which made Ji-Fei very puzzled. Even this is already considered climbing a mountain. The dirt road extends almost at a vertical degree. They can use the stone walls on both sides and hold on tightly with their palms to continue moving forward. They are like little bugs hanging between the stone walls on both sides. Why does the slope that I just climbed just now have a bigger arc now? I haven't stepped into the flat bottom, right? Is this slope the real mountainside? Or the top of the mountain? No, this idea was rejected by Ji-Fei as soon as he came up with it. This is absolutely impossible to be so simple. This mountain road is too smooth. Although other people are a little tired with shawls or feel that their feet are heavy, but they will never feel exhausted. Want them to climb mountains? Guagua is probably not so boring, and the trial is certainly not so simple. What? Just as Ji-Fei was climbing and thinking, a scream sounded from behind. It's Hulina. Because of the increase in the slope, the difficulty of climbing and the physical strength consumed have increased a lot, and if one is not careful, it will slide down in an instant. Hulina could use her physical strength to firmly hold onto the rock wall and climb up to the top, but she seemed to have lost her strength just now, and she slipped down in an instant without holding on firmly. Not good. Yi Lanshan hastily stretched out her hand to grab Hulina, but there was no way she could fall back so fast, and the distance between Hulina and Yan behind was not far, so Hulina might catch Yan and Huorao behind her. Zhu Jiangxing and Xiaoyu were all knocked down. Ruined. Ji-Fei was stunned. He never expected that Hulina's physical strength would be so poor, but he was only concerned about Yi Lanshan behind him, forgetting that Yi Lanshan's physical strength was much better than his own, and that Huoro, as a sensitive a body of an attacking soul master is light, and the method of controlling speed and physical strength is also very special, but Hulina is different. It's okay, Nana, you just step on my shoulder. Xiaofei don't have to worry, I'm using. The roar of Yan's separation sounded. Hulina, who had been retreating downwards, stepped directly on Yan's solid shoulders, and Yan stayed on the spot very firmly, with her outstretched hands firmly clamped between the two stone walls. From the bulging veins from the palm of his hand, it can be seen how severe the pressure Yan is under at this moment. Hulina was stunned for a while. It's okay, I can persevere, Nana, just take a break like this, it's okay. Yan seems to be using his willpower to support what he is doing at this time. Although his physical strength is good, he will definitely not be able to support two people in such a narrow place without using soul power. I'm okay. Hulina looked to see if there were any abrupt stone walls on both sides. If she could hold onto it firmly, she could barely stand up. Hiss. Just when she was about to grab hold of the rock wall and climb again, Hulina touched her ankle in pain. The several sharp scratches were stained with a lot of mud, and the exposed wounds overflowed with blood little by little. It was a scratch caused by rubbing against the stone wall when it just fell, and it seemed to be more serious. Nana, are you okay? Ziyu at the back couldn't see what was going on in front, but she heard Hulina's pained voice, which also had some overlap. Descent. Damn it, Guagua is not allowed to use soul power. What should I do? No matter, Lanshan, you can treat Nana's sister's injury. Even if you are punished, it will be better. Before Ji-Fei finished speaking, Hulina flatly refused, and her tone was very firm. It's okay, this little injury means nothing to me, and you absolutely can't drag all of you down because I'm alone. Just keep going. I'm not a delicate little girl. As she said that, Hulina stretched out her hands with difficulty and continued to climb up with the strength of her own arms. Nana, let me come. Yan climbed towards the top, supported the stone wall with both hands, connected Hulina to his shoulders, and then tried his best to let Hulina fly into the air so that no effort would be wasted. Yan. You don't need Yan. I can do it myself. It's just a small injury. It's nothing to me. Hulina shook her head while relying on her own hands to accumulate savings and climb up. Yan struggled to roar. Listen to me. You are so domineering. Second brother Yan. Fei was slightly stunned when he saw this scene. After being yelled at by Yan, Hulina also seemed to be stunned. The hands that were originally supporting were just hanging in the air, letting Yan climb up. Are you alright, Nana? Ziyu's hurried voice sounded again at the end of the line. Hulina didn't answer. It was Huorao who answered. She smiled bitterly. It's okay. It's okay. Sister Nana is completely fine. Are you alright? Fei continues to climb. Don't waste time. I can do it. Yan's breathing was very even and fast, and he climbed directly to Hulina's previous position, while Hulina was standing on his shoulders. What Hulina wanted now was to recover some physical strength quickly, so that she could climb up. Plus it's very hard to bear the strength of one person. She didn't reject Yan's kindness, but she would not choose to go on like this, and she must go on the path she should go on her own. End of this chapter. Chapter 218 The Deed of the Underworld. Langshan, do you feel a special feeling? Fei and his group continued to move forward. As the leader, Fei needed to be vigilant all the time, paying close attention to whether there was any danger ahead or any danger coming head on. Now Fei and his group are moving forward in a very weird way. If you say it is walking, you still have to hold on to the stone wall on one side to walk. If you say it is climbing, your feet still fall on the ground. The narrow path did not form a straight slope. What's wrong? This fog has blocked all senses. What's the matter? Do you see anything in front of you? Fei reluctantly turned around. Yes, I feel that the fog in front of me seems to be coming towards us with a strong thrust. The wind, it's the wind. Wind? Langshan thought as she walked forward. Could this be a test? Hulina below did not know when she started to walk alone. It seemed that just now, she herself said that she had almost recovered, so she almost walked on by herself. Yan also didn't stop anything. Maybe he also saw the absolute seriousness in Hulina's eyes. But Yan still moved forward very carefully and at the same time, focused on Hulina. If Hulina accidentally had any problems, he would definitely respond immediately. The most unexpected of the seven was Zhu Jiangxing, who looked thin. Even though he was thin, his physical strength seemed to be stronger than some adults. Maybe this can't be called perseverance, but it should be called a will of the sword of a soul master with sword martial arts. Fei focused his attention on the place where the fog was thickest above, and at the same time, he really felt a sharp wind blowing towards them with his raised face. It seems that there is such a looming thing getting closer. No, there is wind in front. It's the wind wall, and the wind wall pushes the fog over. Everyone hurry up. Hurry up. Just as Fei finished speaking, before the others could react, a gust of wind swept towards them involuntarily. In such a narrow road, although there is an empty sky above, if the wind fills the entire canyon, the force that Fei and the others will bear is definitely no less than the coercion produced by a soul master at the Soul King level using soul skills. Even more powerful. As the first one, Fei directly withstood the huge thrust of such a strong wind and condensed fog. The power of this wind. Fei firmly pressed his hands against the stone walls on both sides, and at the same time firmly pressed his feet on the ground, trying hard to allow himself to bear such a huge pressure. Langshan also imitated Fei's example and firmly grasped the stone wall with both hands. Her hair disheveled by the wind was floating, and the strong sound was blowing against her body. Hulina looked really embarrassed, although she wanted to hold on to the stone wall tightly, but the power of the wind seemed to have been greatly amplified on her body, and her body directly fell downwards. This time she was sure that she was holding on firmly and standing firmly, but the wind seemed to be picking fault. Yan was hit hard by such a strong force, and hit his arm. In an instant, his hand was stuck between the crack of the stone, and he made a bone cracking sound, biting his tongue tightly. Yan he was unwilling to shout loudly after death, and he firmly held Hulina in his arms, bearing all the huge strength on his body. Yan. Hulina was a little frightened. She didn't dare to imagine how much pain Yan endured, and she didn't dare to imagine what it would be like if the group of them fell from here without soul protection. Yan's pale face could not see the slightest expression, but the crown of his teeth clenched tightly could tell what kind of pain he was enduring. Click. The place where Huorao stopped below is very ingenious. There is a protruding stone that can be used as a grip to grab it. Zhu Jiangxing, who was below, was very confused. One of his hands was tightly pressed against the stone wall, and the other hand was stretched backwards. It turned out that he was catching Ziyu, who was retreating again and again. Thank you, Giant Crossing. Ziyu tightly grasped the stone wall with one hand and quickly searched for a place to hold it firmly with the other hand. Zhu Jiangxing's trembling body was really like a flying flag in front of such a strong wind, and even began to shake. If this continues, we will all be blown down. Front. Suddenly, perhaps because the wind blows away the accumulated mist, Ji-Fei actually saw the end of the road ahead, which seemed to be a platform. Is there the end? Ji-Fei felt that he was at least 30 meters away from there, and the wind seemed to be getting more and more intense. It was impossible to reach the distance he saw with his own physical strength that platform. After a moment of silence, Ji-Fei said to Yi Lanshan, "Lanshan, come on, give me your hand." Yi Lanshan naturally sensed Ji-Fei's thoughts. After all, their hearts were united. "Do you want to take us to that platform one by one? It is very difficult to do so, and do you have enough physical strength?" Ji-Fei shook his head and said, "If I don't do this, we will all be blown down by the wind. Don't you feel that the wind is weird and special? It must be a ghost. Come on, my method is not some soul power, it's just a part of my body to me. Give me your hand." Yi Lanshan nodded, feeling that the wind constantly blowing around her was getting stronger and stronger. Perhaps this was the final test, right? Ji-Fei stretched out his hand to take Yi Lanshan, and then said to Yi Lanshan, "Hold on to me." Turning over, Ji-Fei asked Yi Lanshan to hold on to his shoulders tightly while he freed his hands and began to use his own methods. "Second brother Yan and brother Jianxing Huorao Ziyu, you guys are here to support me for the time being. I will send Lanshan to that platform first and then come back to bring you. Even if the platform in front is not the top of the mountain, there should be no wind. The top of the platform is white, so there is still fog, and it can be inferred that there is no such hurricane." The others were a little confused. They couldn't move forward. What method would Ji-Fei use to move forward with someone on his back with such a wind? It is difficult to maintain one's own figure here, right? But what Ji-Fei did next left them all dumbfounded. No, didn't he think that Ji-Fei would have such a method at all? End of this chapter. Chapter 219, The Deed of the Underworld. Ji-Fei's hands turned into slender dark purple claws. Every inch of the claws seemed to exude a dazzling color, and it seemed that even the wind could separate them under the strong wind. Especially when Ji-Fei put his hand on the rock wall, those slender claws instantly sank into the rock, and Ji-Fei's whole body was supported in place. No matter how the wind blew, Ji-Fei didn't feel the slightest bit stable situation. Even though Ji-Fei was bearing the strength of two people, when the sharp claws sank into the rock, endless power seemed to surge out from Ji-Fei's arms and even his whole body, even giving Ji-Fei a feeling that, even if Hulina and the others below were directly taking them up to the platform above, is a breeze. Don't worry, this is neither a soul skill nor a soul power. This sharp claw of mine is different from ordinary things like soul bones. It can be activated with just one thought, and will not drive any soul power. So you won't be judged to be violating the rules. You all insist on it for a while. As he said that, Ji-Fei began to move upwards. Sure enough, with such sharp claws, no matter how much the wind blows, it can't stop Ji-Fei's progress, and the surging power makes Ji-Fei speed up in vain. If it was based on the original story, and because of the wind blowing, the distance of 30 meters would have to be climbed for several hours for Ji-Fei to reach it, but now it is completely different. After possessing these sharp claws, Ji-Fei climbed directly to the platform he had just watched in less than 2 minutes. After reaching the top, Ji-Fei jumped and landed firmly on the stone platform. Here, it seems that this is the end of the road, and the next journey can only be climbed, which is a bit difficult. Ji-Fei put Yi Lanshan down and at the same time looked at the surrounding environment very carefully. This is a platform that can accommodate 7 of them. Looking down from here, the path they have traveled all the way is like a slide that goes down, but there are rocks on both sides of this slide. If you are not careful, you will go down. The arm remains on it. And this place is exactly as Ji-Fei predicted before. There is no wind, and it is even dead quiet. What the quietness brings is a lot of fog gathering, but the rock wall can be seen from Ji-Fei's station. Yes. If you extend out from this platform, there will be no roads, only the rock wall. The rock wall that they really need to climb. Difficult. Climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain without using soul power. Although there is a platform below, it is not a deep abyss, but no one wants to bear such a danger, right? If one accidentally falls down, it is not just a tragedy. Okay, Lanshan, you wait here for a while, and I'll pick them up. Be careful. Yi Lanshan warned. Ji-Fei nodded. He naturally knew this. He glanced at the dark purple claws. The slender claws possessed terrifying power and great magic power. Ji-Fei didn't know if he could use the power of these claws, what kind of scene would it be if it were to the extreme. But no matter how you look at it, the hard objects are like flimsy thin paper. To say that cutting iron like mud is too belittling Ji-Fei's sharp claws. Well, since you have such power and have already fused with my hands, I will still need to rely on your power a lot in the future. You come from Izanami of Huanquan, so I will call you for the contract of the underworld. It is a contract between you and me, a contract to verify the strongest combat power in the world together. As soon as the words fell, Ji-Fei jumped down. Yes, there is nothing wrong, just jumping directly. This is not a difficult thing for Ji-Fei. He even said that he has already calculated, jumping from here can completely rely on the grasping force of the deed of the underworld. To hold him firmly it fell by Yan's side. The first thing I have to do is to bring Hulina up. I have to heal Hulina's injuries. Even if it is contrary to Guagua's words, I have to ask Yi Lanshan to heal Hulina's injuries. This is not only for the climbing for a while, but also as a teammate to do. Winning is not important, nor is it the goal to complete the trial. What Ji-Fei has to do is to form the real kiking above the cloud. A blue frog kept jumping and muttering something in its mouth. Foul. This is a foul. How can you use the external spirit bone? This is the use of soul power. No, I didn't feel the fluctuation of the soul power just now. It seems that the external spirit bone of the old brother will not be destroyed. What kind of soul power consumption? Huh. This seems a bit interesting, but no matter how you look at it, I didn't expect such a thing at all. Boom. Ji-Fei accurately landed on Yan's side, and at the same time, his hands were firmly embedded in the rock. The split rock seemed to soften instantly, but when Ji-Fei stabilized his figure, the rock became soft again. Be strong. Come on, third sister, I will carry you up, and let Lanshan heal your injuries. Don't refuse anything. After you go up, you will find that it is impossible to climb to the top of the mountain if you are injured. Besides, the safety of each of us is the most important thing. Trials, it's a secondary purpose. Hulina leaned against Yan's arms. She originally wanted to refute, but she glanced at Yan, then nodded. Okay. Be careful. Yan put Hulina on Ji-Fei's back. Ji-Fei was also very thankful that Hulina's arm was not injured. Otherwise he would really have no way to bring her up safely. This time, Ji-Fei's speed was even faster. After adapting to the method of using the deed of the underworld in the control of strength, the climbing speed was just that. He climbed directly onto the platform in an instant. Moreover, Ji-Fei could tell that the physical strength of the other people seemed to be on the verge of collapse. If they didn't hurry up, the consequences for Yan and the others would be disastrous if they were blown down by the wind. Lanshan, help Sister Nana to heal her wounds. Yi Lanshan nodded, helped Hulina, and then led her to the other side, picked out a light green leaf out of thin air, and attached it to Hulina's injured ankle, and then the original wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. And Ji-Fei jumped down again. After all, he had to bring them up one by one. Sure enough, if they can't use their soul power, Ji-Fei and the others have too little to adapt to. Ji-Fei can't imagine if they can neither use their soul power this time, nor have any means like the deed of the underworld. What method should they use to reach the summit safely? Maybe I can't even log onto that platform. End of this chapter. Chapter 220, The Deed of the Underworld. Call. I'm exhausted. You guys really should lose weight. I've exhausted all my energy. Fei was lying on the platform panting heavily. His brows were covered with a dense layer of sweat. The Deed of the Underworld exuded a dark purple metallic luster. It seemed to have a feeling of excitement. It was not at all like Fei lying down like this on the ground. At the beginning, it was relatively easy for Fei to carry Yi Lanshan and Hulina on his back. After all, girls are much lighter, and the grip brought by the bond of the underworld to Fei is also terrifying, which can make Fei not have to, no matter how much force is used. It is firmly fixed on the stone wall. But when it came to Yan, everything was in vain. Yan's strong body brought a heavy, incomparably heavy feeling. When Fei carried Yan on his back, the feeling like a heavy stone exploded from his back instantly. Yan dragged Fei down, and began to swipe down, and the sharpness of the Deed of the Underworld also directly slashed the stone wall. If Fei hadn't tried his best to climb up quickly, Fei felt that he might be with Yan. Everyone slipped down to the bottom of the mountain together, and the Deed of the Underworld will cut the entire stone wall apart. Later, it was Ziyu, who seemed to have a relatively normal figure, but it was as good as Yan when she carried it on her back. In addition, the resistance of the strong wind really didn't exhaust Fei to death after a few rounds. Yi Lanshan came over, raised her hand to wipe the sweat off Fei's brow, and then said softly, "You have worked hard, take a good rest. You may have to work hard in the future." Fei looked bitterly at the cliff in front of him, just as Yi Lanshan said, "The next climb may be the most deadly, relying on them, the team whose oldest is no more than 10 years old, climbing the cliff." Hiss, this doesn't seem to be a difficult thing for someone to push people into the fire pit. Thank you Fei. If it wasn't for you, we might have fallen to the bottom of the mountain and died. Ziyu was taking care of Hulina, and Yan was also resting. Yi Lanshan had just treated Hulina's injury, and it took only a while to recover almost. Yan's arm had just suffered a huge force that caused the hand bone to break, but Yi Lanshan's treatment was absolutely miraculous. The bottom has also been restored. Huo Rao and Zhu Jiangxing were fine. Their lightness was a good advantage for them, and they didn't need to bear much strength, so they were not hurt by what they said, but they were also very embarrassed. Huo Rao blown away the messy hair looks like a little lunatic, and Zhu Jiangxing is tidying it up for her. Fei sighed. Oh, Guagua and undead teacher just want to play us to death, and they didn't let us do any physical training on weekdays, right? If my external spirit bone is attached, it will definitely die. External spirit bone. Fei, you actually have such a thing. This is the existence second only to the 10-year soul ring in the list of the top 10 dreams of soul masters. Our teacher told us before that the external spirit bone is different. As for the soul bone, the external soul bone has the power of manifestation, and the power of this manifestation is infinitely stronger than the skills contained in the soul bone, but this is also the use of soul power. The use of the external soul bone also requires injected with soul power. In that case, what you said was right. He also knew the special features of the external spirit bone. If it was someone else, even if he watched them die, he would not use such a method in front of others, would he? After all, this kind of thing is too tempting for soul masters, and the external soul bone can also be plundered. If someone with ulterior motives cuts off the attachment of the external soul bone, or if it is removed, the attached soul bone and the original soul master will probably suffer death-like injuries. But Fei told them that Ziyu couldn't help being a little happy. Maybe they were really friends. The kind of friends who were very good friends. Different from the kind of guys who used each other. There was no such thing as betrayal or not betrayal between them. At least from Ziyu's point of view, he himself is worthy of Fei's call Ziyu, and there are other people besides his sister. This. Fei raised his hand with a look of lovelessness and showed how to use his deed of the underworld. My external spirit bone is a bit special. It is for hunting the first spirit ring. I got it from my enemy in the land of the underworld. It seems that it can be activated without using any soul power. I also know a lot about the external soul bones. Generally, the external soul bones are attached. That is, it is said that it can be removed, but the method of removing it is cruel. But my external spirit bone is different. It seems that mine has been completely fused with my hands, and it is connected with a whole hand bone. Completely blended together. Has the original bone been replaced? Would it be painful? Was it absorbed? Fei recalled. At the beginning, I remember that I had fainted, and I can't remember exactly what happened in the middle. Anyway, I didn't use this external spirit bone much after I woke up. Today is my first time. Try using it for the first time. As I thought before, this external spirit bone does not need to use spirit power, and I just named it Deed of the Underworld. Xiopha's luck is really great. With such a high level of soul power, even luck is overwhelming. It's really incomparable. Incomparable. Fei said, it's luck or not. The first thing we need to solve is there. Following the direction of Fei's finger, Ziyu also looked at the towering cliff wall shrouded in clouds and mist. The words here haven't reached the real top yet, and we don't know how high the cliffs we need to climb. It seems difficult to reach the top of the mountain with a height. I really don't know what Teacher Guagua thinks. Yan lay on the ground looking at the deep white mist and complained. Oh, Mr. Guagua just didn't consider our age. He thought we were all grown-ups, but actually standing on the cliff and not being able to reach the stone wall would be too difficult to reach. Say two more. Fei also said helplessly after hearing the words. There is no other way. Lanshan, if it were you, what would you choose to do? Yi Lanshan didn't answer, but pointed to the other end of the sky, where Fei and the others were facing. There seemed to be something breaking through the fog and coming towards them at a very high speed. It looks like a flock of big white birds. We seem to be in trouble. End of this chapter. Chapter 221 How to Climb to the Top. Fei started to do it suddenly. From his line of sight, a group of big white birds rushed out of the mist and came towards them. No, it should have hit them directly. The white phantom came over in an instant, so fast that it seemed to be connected into countless line segments, and there was no sign of slowing down at all. Fei's reaction was quick. Everyone, hurry up and use your martial souls to resist. These monster birds are targeting us. Ziyu and the others also knew that, if the soul beasts attacked, they would not be able to survive if they did not use their soul power to stop them. Besides, as Fei said, they were the only targets of this group of huge strange birds. After all, this group of huge strange birds didn't crash towards the cliff wall, did they? In that case, it is completely in the rhythm of his own death, right? Although they were still very tired just now, the tense situation made them all recover to the peak moment in an instant, and the speed of each of them releasing their soul skills was also extremely fast. Star rain splashing down. Zhu Jiangxing seemed to be disturbed by these huge strange birds because he didn't tidy up Hu Orao's hair, so he was very angry in his heart. As soon as the Wuhan summoned the three Xingyu swords, he immediately rushed towards the strange bird stabbed at the head and covered the face. The three swords facing each other directly pierced the heads of the three huge strange birds, and the huge strange birds let out a whimpering sound, and at the same time, their figures fell directly downward. On the other side, this group of huge strange birds directly bumped into Yi Lanshan. Fei's reaction speed was very fast, and he came directly in front of Yi Lanshan with a dodge, and Fei didn't use his martial soul, but simply raised his own deed of the underworld, and his sharp eyes followed in an instant the light and shadow of the huge monster bird advanced, and then directly held the monster bird's neck, and then held it fiercely. The huge strange bird flapped its wings back and forth, and at the same time, made an extremely unpleasant howling sound, trying to break free from Fei's shackles. But how could Fei let it go so easily? If you shot at me, I would break your wings at most, but who made you so blind? If you shot at Lanshan, then use your blood to consecrate my deed of the underworld. As soon as the words fell, Fei held the neck of the huge monster bird and walked towards the edge of the platform. The monster birds that rushed over from all around still didn't stop moving. On the contrary, they intensified their attack on this side regardless of life or death. Yan waved his huge flaming fist at the huge monster birds attacking from all around him. Although the speed was slow, the advantage was that the range was wide. The huge monster birds around him chose to bypass or come from another direction continue to attack. Ziyu tightly held the two blood blades in her hand. The messy blade shadow was approaching the extreme. From a distance, it seemed that Ziyu could only see that Ziyu was wielding no blades, but two blood-colored long lines. Two bloodlines with their own mobility. Boom. Ji-Fei raised the huge monster bird in his hand, and then slightly held the bond of the underworld towards the distance, and then accompanied by an explosion sound and a scattered blood-colored mist, the huge monster bird that had been struggling disappeared in an instant. There was no trace of it, not even a whit of white feathers remained. Then Ji-Fei raised his hand casually, as if the deed of the underworld had a special absorption ability. A huge strange bird that had been colliding with it fell into Ji-Fei's palm in an instant. Ji-Fei's eyes turned slightly cold, and an indescribably terrifying and bloodthirsty smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The second one. Boom. Still the same as before, with the sound of explosion, a round of yellow soul ring suddenly appeared beside Ji-Fei. The deed of the underworld seemed to be caught in a real killing, crazily grabbing the huge strange birds around, and seemed to be, as if they had the ability to act on their own. As long as they rushed over from Ji-Fei's side and wanted to hit Yi Lanshan, they would be caught in Ji-Fei's palm instantly. It's really impossible to kill. Ji-Fei took a look around from the corner of his eye, and there was a steady stream of huge monster birds coming all around. No matter what method other people used to kill a large number of huge monster birds, but in the blink of an eye, they were far away. Another batch of huge strange birds will rush out of the mist in the sky. Chaos Villain, it's up to you. Eat as much as you can, and relieve the pressure for us. Ji-Fei still didn't use the martial soul, but simply summoned the Chaos Villain. Although the Chaos Villain appeared to be a martial soul, it was actually like an independent creature that could be summoned casually. The Chaos Villain got Ji-Fei's understanding and flew up directly. It didn't choose to fight and kill these huge monster birds with Ji-Fei and the others on the platform, but went in the opposite direction and flew directly into the clouds and mist's attack. Ji-Fei smiled slightly. As long as the Chaos Villain's words got his understanding, no matter what it was, as long as it could be eaten, nothing could escape its mouth. Feeling the soul power and life force continuously coming from his body, Ji-Fei also nodded happily. Part of the power that the chaotic villain devoured these soul beasts would be transmitted to him, although only part of it, but this it's also very rare, if you know, that the villains in the past just cared about their own food, and didn't care about other things. Looking at it this way, to Ji-Fei, this is the progress of the chaotic villain, and this is also another way for Ji-Fei to gain another powerful combat power. Just as Ji-Fei and the others were having a good time killing each other, the clouds rolled, and at the same time, a sharp roar came out. Ji-Fei frowned slightly. He seemed to have sensed through his connection with the Chaos Villain that the Chaos Villain seemed to be fighting something terrible. No, it's simply the chaotic villain's own devouring battle. Trying hard to open his eyes, Ji-Fei wanted to find that special screaming existence from the rolling clouds, but he didn't seem to see it. After working hard for a while, just when Ji-Fei was about to give up and continue hunting these huge strange birds, the figure of the chaotic villain and an extremely huge strange bird rushed towards them. The villain of chaos stood on top of the huge strange bird in a very humane manner and raised his head to point to Ji-Fei. Ji-Fei looked at the villain of chaos in some bewilderment, but when he saw the demise of this extremely huge strange bird and the dead air all over his body, he immediately understood what was going on. This chaotic villain really knows how to use what he has learned. It's amazing. It's really amazing. End of this chapter. Chapter 222, How to Climb to the Top. After the appearance of this giant strange bird, the white birds that had been rushing towards them stopped in an instant, and they all flew backwards in a nearly suspended posture. What a big strange bird. What kind of soul beast is this? Why haven't I heard of it before? Ziyu put down the bloody crescent moon blade in her hand and stared at the huge strange bird in front of her with a strange expression. Although the strange bird was huge, it gave him an indescribably weird feeling. As for how weird it was, he had some questions. Don't know. Beautiful job. Ji-Fei also shouted excitedly when he saw the chaos villain jumping on his shoulder again. Others may not be able to see the abnormal state of this strange bird, but for Ji-Fei has already discovered some clues the moment the villain of chaos appeared. That's right, the villain of chaos activated a special soul skill stealing the sky, and changing the sun, which directly replaced the control ability of the giant bird's body. So now this huge strange bird is under the command of the villain of chaos. Fei can also control it at will. This is the power of the withered woodvine, one of Fei's martial souls. The source of the soul skill is also Izunomi's millennium soul skill. This more or less makes Fei feel a little strange. He was able to solve it so quickly these 2 times. The difficulties are all due to the soul skill of the underworld that Izunomi bestowed. This huge strange bird. Fei suddenly thought of a very good way to climb to the top. Since he has already used his soul power, it's not too bad. So it's 1:30. Just ride this huge strange bird to reach the top of the mountain. Anyway, didn't Quack also say that there are no soul beasts? If it wasn't for the extremely fast reaction of their group just now, they would have been dumped by such a group of strange birds. If they follow this kind of offensive, they might not be able to sustain it, no matter how much soul power they have. Are you interested in riding this giant bird directly to the top of the mountain? Fei asked this question, but he had already started to act, controlling the giant bird and moving towards them. Fei feels like flying a kite, but this huge kite is very special, and it looks like a living soul beast on the outside, but in fact it has been replaced by consciousness, perhaps in the chaos. After the villain cuts off its consciousness, it will die, or it will die in a short period of time. Can it? Isn't this huge strange bird coming to attack us? Look, it's getting closer. Yan raised his fist with flames very vigilantly. He couldn't believe that such a huge strange bird would help them reach the top of the mountain. This soul beast might be a millennium soul beast of the same level as the water and fire crab, which must not be underestimated and must be treated with vigilance. It doesn't matter, this soul beast doesn't have any intention of attacking suddenly and attacking. Fei pointed to the cliff behind him and then said, as you have seen, it is impossible for us to climb such a cliff, and if my guess is right, now we have time to climb to the top. There aren't many left, and if we don't hurry up, I'm afraid we won't be able to reach the top of the mountain within the time stipulated by Guagua. But it's not good to do this, isn't it? Isn't this opportunistic? Teacher Guagua will let us do this? Hulina said that the point is on point. Since it is a trial that is stipulated for them, everyone must be required to climb it, right? Even if it didn't arrive, at least I worked hard. Fei smiled slightly when he heard this. Miss Nana, you are thinking too simply. Guagua said that there will be no soul beasts, and at the same time, said that we should not use soul power to climb such a cliff. It is absolutely impossible, and we have already used our soul power, so let's make a mistake. In my opinion, the final result of the trial task is more important. As for this process, we have not experienced it before, so I suggest going straight to the summit with this huge monster bird. The others also nodded and subconsciously looked at the distant stone wall. At this height, there is still a hidden fog, and every other exposed grip is much farther than their height, just like GG. What Fei said, if only relying on physical strength, this is something that cannot be achieved at all. Ziyu stood up. Fei said so, and this is a mountain that is impossible to climb. We also need to change the way we move forward. In fact, this group of strange birds came at a good time, of course. Or Fei has the means to control such a giant bird. Otherwise, we may have to fight such a flock of birds. I don't know when it will take. Fei raised his head unnaturally. His deep eyes seemed to be able to see through the clouds and fog and see a blue frog staring at them above the sky. Yi Lanshan's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Did you think that these are Guagua's arrangements? That's why you did this? Fei replied. Guagua must have discovered the loophole in his design of the trial. That is, he did not consider that our height is not enough to climb such a cliff, so he arranged it randomly. He must have known it too. I have such a soul skill that can control the situation. Yi Lanshan continued. This will solve the problem, but I always feel a little unwilling. Fei smiled to himself. Is it a matter of height? I also have such a feeling of malice, but there is nothing we can do. The most important thing we need to do now is to climb to the top, and the rest will wait until we see it. Let's talk face to face after Quack. That's all we can do. Originally, I still thought that you should carry us one by one to the top of the mountain alone, but looking at it now, there is no such opportunity. Lanshan, we don't have to be so harsh, right? Of course, if it's you alone, I won't care too much. For the others, let's forget it, especially Brother Yan and Brother Xiao. It's like a heavy stone, I can't bear it. Jifei's complaint was based on real pain. Putting away the deed of the underworld, Jifei walked towards the giant bird, and at the same time, confirmed that he had obtained the control of the giant bird, and the villain of chaos had disappeared without a trace, as if he was full, and didn't want to eat. What about sports? Fortunately, the control is in my hands. This way, I can save all the troubles I considered before. End of this chapter. Chapter 223, How to Climb to the Top. The giant bat soared into the sky, fluttered its wings and roared, and the surrounding fog was swung to the other side in an instant, but it quickly gathered together again, which looked extremely strange. Jifei and his team stood on top of the huge strange bird. Under Jifei's control, the giant bat began to rise upwards. This process was very fast, almost in the blink of an eye. Jifei and the others had already reached the top of the mountain. Isn't this speed too fast? But what's even more impressive is that the cliff is so high. If we are asked to climb it, we may not be able to complete the task unless you use the external spirit bone again, Xiao, to take us one by one. Carry it on your back, ha ha ha. For Ziyu's teasing of Jifei, he was also quite helpless. Brother Ziyu, stop teasing me. If I really let me carry you up to the top of the mountain, I'm afraid I'm going to go crazy. When Jifei talked about croaking, everyone remembered that this trial, from climbing the mountain to now riding a giant bat to the top, seemed too incomprehensible. Jifei smiled slightly. It seemed incomprehensible, but if you look at this matter from the perspective of trials, it is quite normal. After all, they can't climb such a cliff, so they can only find another trial method to counteract this unfinished trial. Similarly, Jifei and his group need to climb to the top of the mountain. So Quack may have chosen such a method. This method seems a little difficult for people to understand, but it also tested the way of thinking of Jifei and his team. That is, what is really important is not necessarily the process. After all, not many people will watch your process, and the most important thing is the final result. No matter how difficult the process is, if the task result is not achieved, it will be unbearable. The ground on the top of the mountain is very similar to the ground below. No, it is even another lost canyon, and the mountain is still a mountain, but Jifei and the others have already seen that Quack is already standing not far away, waiting for them. Look at Teacher Guagua. Hulina pointed to Guagua, who was standing not far away. Looking at it, it seems to be really leisurely, but that's it. Teacher Guagua's goal is to get us here, and the rest. I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't had Xiaofen's deed of the underworld to help us just now. If we fell, would Mr. Quack come to save us? You have to ask Guagua himself about Yan's question. But if you think about it, although Guagua said that he would try his best to find a way by himself, if he was really in danger, he would be the first to rescue him. And they will also suggest that they themselves should find the way of the method, which is the best teaching method for a tutor. Teacher Quack. Mr. Quack, here we come. Hi. Teacher Guagua, we have completed the first half of the trial. Has the time passed? As Jifei controlled the whereabouts of the giant bird, several other people waved their hands to greet Guagua, but no matter how they looked, they wanted to divert Guagua's attention, so that they might not be opportunistic to reach the top of the mountain. Let's talk about this matter. Guagua looked at the group of children and shook his head helplessly, and didn't say much, but just watched the giant bat slowly fall, and felt a little turmoil in his heart. To be able to replace this level of consciousness is indeed a powerful existence. Maybe that chaotic villain is also a creature similar to an intelligent body? Asked suspiciously in his heart. Guagua shook his head helplessly. It is better not to delve into something about these things. As undead Douluo told it before, it may not be a good thing to know too much about something. After Jifei and the others landed, Jifei controlled the giant bird again and left. It would die soon after losing its sanity. This huge strange bird, but the villain of chaos is completely different. The means of the villain of chaos are very terrifying. As for what kind of behavior it uses to complete the devouring of mind and replace it, Fei could only say that apart from the special features of the deadwood to and vine and the blue silver grass, the chaotic villain's body was not simple either. As long as it can eat, it can swallow everything. It is so small that its body is almost transparent, but its appetite is really wireless. It is nothing but chaos, and what excites Fei most is what this chaotic villain has. From time to time, he will spit out some very special treasures for him, which makes people look forward to it. First of all, it is the Kunwu sword. The sharpness of the sword is obvious to Fei. Even Zhu Jiangxing's honed sword can be broken directly. You guys are really good. You actually chose this way to climb to the top. Your ability to opportunistically has made a lot of achievements. Also, your cooperation is really good. So much time wasted. Originally, you shouldn't have encountered the strange wind, but you stayed for a while in the middle of the journey, and when the strange wind hit, I can't blame you, and I didn't think about it. The physical strength of this little guy is so poor, I feel that it is necessary for you to climb the mountain every day, so it is a very good choice for physical strength. Well, it's a happy decision. Anyway, your trial is an extremely long process. You will climb the mountain once, before starting a day's trial. Fei and the others came in front of Gua Gua. Gua didn't know whether it was questioning or complaining, and he just gave him a good meal. But when they heard Gua Gua's decision without authorization, the faces of Fei and the others suddenly became ugly. This can't be true, can it? Do you have to climb the mountain every day? Do you have to go through that situation every day? This is even more painful than fighting a soul beast. Although their physical strength and endurance are quite good, but the mountain road is really strange. If time is wasted for a long time, such a strange wind will blow. After that, everyone's eyes fell directly on Fei. Fei seemed to have felt the trembling of the deed of the underworld hidden in his two hands. Obviously, it didn't want to do such coolies. And how long it will last, once a day is even more unknown. Fei, who was in a hurry, felt that he should divert his attention a little bit now, or would he let people live just want to play him to death? Okay, if I hadn't been defeated by a soul beast or a soul master, I would have died of exhaustion here. It may be necessary to lose weight. The food is too good. Yes, it must be like this. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Poison Bat 1. So what do we need to do next? Judging by the time, we should be considered finished, right? Based on Fei's judgment, they only spent 2 or 3 hours at most. If it wasn't for the huge monster bird, it might be difficult, and they wouldn't even reach the top of the mountain within the stipulated time, but with the help of the huge monster bird that's quick. Gua Gua said, forget it, if you reach the top of this mountain, it will be regarded as 1/3 successful. Today's trial is still relatively simple. Look at the cave on the other side. The cave? Fei looked in the direction that Quack pointed, and there was indeed a mountain-like thing in the distance, and the overall structure of this mountain was still very special. The open cave swallowed a large amount of mist like this. In fact, to say that it swallowed a large amount of mist should actually mean that the mist drilled into the cave. Others are also a little puzzled, but it is not easy to simply think about things like caves. It is small and surrounded by darkness, and at the same time, it is impossible for them to exert their full strength in the narrow cave, and the cooperation of several people will be restricted. Besides, there may be something serious in an ordinary dark cave. Soul beasts are waiting for them. That would be really terrifying. Gua Gua explained to Fei and the others while dancing. I don't know how long this cave is, but it is definitely the most suitable place for you to exercise. I don't know anything about the situation, so you go on your own. Let's explore. I hope you can come out completely, otherwise I will be very troubled. I don't want to enter such a dark cave. Really don't know? Fei absolutely didn't believe that Gua Gua didn't know the situation in this cave, so he had to know something, right? However, since Quack said this, it must have its own purpose. At least it wants Fei and the others to deal with the dangers that will arise in such a dark cave, right? Ji-Fei walked towards the cave, thinking as he walked, if it's a cave, there shouldn't be any powerful soul beasts, at least there won't be huge soul beasts, and then it shouldn't be special. Danger. Quack, how are we done? This is very important. Yesterday, the 7 of them defeated the water and fire crab to complete the trial, so there must be a goal in this cave, right? Similarly, could it be possible to defeat a soul beast? In that case, Guagua must know something, right? How can I complete the task? Guagua thought for a while, and then said to Ji-Fei, I don't know about this. Anyway, you just keep going forward. Sooner or later you will reach the end, and if you reach the end, it should be considered complete. In the end, I don't know. Ji-Fei's face darkened. Guagua really didn't know what to ask this time. Even if he knew, he probably didn't have the intention to tell them. This is not a good thing. Do not know. Ziyu and the others also walked to the edge of the cave, looking at the dark cave and the mist pouring into it. The special sense of sight is really daunting. No one knows how long the cave is inside. How small is it? Or is there some terrifying spirit beast waiting inside? Teacher Guagua, stop joking. How could you not know? Tell us, tell us. Guagua said, don't talk about it. I really don't know about it. The greedy dad gave me instructions to let you come here. I didn't go in and explore it before, so whether there are any soul beasts or any danger in it, and so on, everything has to be explored by yourself. What? Teacher Undead specially prepared it for us? Hearing this, all of them looked in fear at the trial that Undead Douluo specially prepared for them in the cave. Maybe everyone else is afraid, but at this moment, Ji-Fei has already started to think about more things. Since it is a trial specially prepared by Undead Douluo for them, it must not be easy, so the most important point may be, Undead Douluo set up the scenes that will appear in this cave, based on each of their weaknesses and their combined weaknesses. This is very scary. Okay, it's getting late. You guys go in quickly, pass quickly and then you can rest. How about it? Is it comfortable to practice with me? If it's some other teacher or the like, I will definitely not treat you. The training is definitely not over, but I'm different. As long as you pass 2 trial levels every day, you can complete the task of the day. Isn't it easy? Everyone sighed together. Is this simple? Even if it is just a single trial, it is enough to make some adult soul masters daunting, right? Such words are still simple. I'm afraid that Guagua really did not think through his head before he said this, but it is also true. In the eyes of Guagua, this is really not a particularly difficult trial. Just like the miscalculation of climbing the cliff this time, Guagua probably didn't consider that the height of Ji-Fei and his group couldn't support them climbing without using any soul power. Ji-Fei turned around and looked at Yi Lanshan. What do you think of Lanshan? How dangerous is the word of the cave? And if it's a weak point among us? Yi Lanshan looked at the deep and dark cave. In this case, the soul beast is for sure, but what kind of soul beast it will be is unknown, and Teacher Immortal still has a lot of magical and tricky treasures. We have to be careful of being tricked. This cave is not suitable for large-scale release of soul skills. In this way, many soul skills will be restricted. This is something we need to pay attention to, so we are equivalent to being restricted a lot. After entering this cave, we must also pay attention to the trial prepared for us by the undead teacher in this cave. Ji-Fei nodded. Everyone should proceed according to the previous formation. If the cave is wide, it's okay. If it's narrow, we need to pay attention to the release of our soul skills. The others also nodded. It is necessary not to let your soul skills hurt yourself and others, and no matter how you think about the cave, it must be narrow, so it is very important to limit the range of soul skills up. However, if Ji-Fei and the others think about it carefully, their respective abilities seem to be restricted too much, right? End of this chapter. Chapter 225 Poison Bat 2. The cave is not narrow enough for Ji-Fei and the others to walk side by side, and the height is 5 or 6 meters high. Both sides are naturally formed, and there are no traces of excavation at all. People can't help but imagine such a cave. How did the cave appear on this mountain? And it's very cold and humid inside, and the hot air that is exhaled seems to quickly melt into the damp atmosphere of this cave. Although they could walk side by side, Ji-Fei still asked the others, to move forward according to the previously divided queue. If they walked side by side, it would be safer, but the restrictions would also increase. It's so cold in here. If I knew it earlier, I would have worn more. Even if I was hit by the wind before, I didn't feel so piercing. Hulina rubbed her hands while walking. The overall environment of the misty Grand Canyon is that kind of mild. Even in the season of the 12th lunar month, there is no feeling of freezing 3 feet, and the temperature is almost maintained throughout the year. So in such a it is really strange that there is such a cold place under the environment. Yan held up the flames to illuminate the surroundings, saying that holding the flames was actually illuminating the surrounding mountain walls while possessing his own martial soul, but he couldn't release excessive flames himself, otherwise he would definitely counterproductive. Jifei and Yi Lanshan walked together, and there was a burning leaf floating in front of Jifei. That was Yi Lanshan's method. Yi Lanshan used the leaves condensed from her soul power to ignite them, and then they could burn for a long time and emit extremely bright light, and under Yi Lanshan's control, this strange leaf could continue to move forward. Tick, tick. The sound of water dripping was heard next to his ears, and Jifei tried his best to see the way ahead clearly from the shining light, but the accumulated fog blocked his sight again, and even strong light could not penetrate the dense fog. Jifei did some calculations. The road ahead they could see was only 5 or 6 meters away. The words behind were shining brightly, so they didn't have to pay too much attention. After the evil moon broke, there was basically no danger. After all, if there is anything coming out of this cave, it must be in front of Jifei. Jifei said as he walked, the trial master undead prepared for us is to limit some of our special abilities. Although this cave allows us to fight, it also has many restrictions. Feeling is the worst thing for me. Huorao said later, I'm an agility attack type, and I can't use it in such a cave. If there is any danger, as an attack type, my mutated flame is also very unsuitable to activate in such a cave of. Mine too. Yan said, it is impossible to use my second soul ability, so I can only use the fist with flames attached, but this way the restriction is also very large. If my soul power increases a little, it may hurt. It's your turn. The 2 area of range flame attacks can't be used in caves, and it's not that they can't be used at all. It's just that the attack power and range are really bad, and such restrictions are not limited to Huorao Yan 2 people. Jifei's words are restricted depending on the difference in the release of martial souls, but the most important thing is that Jifei, as a soul master of the control system, must have a range of control, otherwise it is really against the control system. A great test for a soul master, especially when an Izanami martial soul like Jifei is used as the control. The range of control will also be limited. If we are talking about us, maybe Nana is more convenient as a control type soul master, but single-handed control is more useful than me. Hulina rubbed her hands and replied, in this case, if there is any danger in the future, I will take control as the control system first. Jifei nodded. Let's adapt. The most important thing is that we can't use it here, but let's go quickly. The environment here is not very comfortable after staying for a long time. Indeed, the surrounding cold air seems to be constantly gathering together with the mist, and the coldness is particularly biting. Whenever the water drops fall, Jifei's whole body seems to be stabbed fiercely by a sharp blade, turned from the cold air and mist one time. It didn't seem that anything particularly strange happened as he moved forward, but Jifei felt a little unbelievable the more he looked like this. His eyes tried hard to find some flaws in the mist, but there was nothing he could do. The slight soreness in his eyes made Jifei very uncomfortable. Jifei thought about how great it would be if his eyes could penetrate the mist. Do I have to look for a soul beast similar to the eye pupil in the future? And if possible, won't it be so tiring to get the eye pupil type martial soul? Hiss. Suddenly, Zhu Jiangxing uttered a painful wail and immediately clutched his neck and collapsed on the ground. The blood that spread out was pitch black. Giant crossing. Giant crossing. What's the matter with you? Huo Rao stared at Zhu Jiangxing anxiously and asked about Zhu Jiangxing's situation, only to see that Zhu Jiangxing was tightly covering his neck and his whole complexion became extremely pale. What happened? Jifei passed through the crowd and saw that Zhu Jiangxing seemed to have been bitten by something, and it was a kind of poison. Zhu Jiangxing raised his hand with difficulty and then pointed upward. Above. Yi Lanshan also hurried over and condensed a leaf and handed it to Huo. Give it to him. Ji Fei didn't know that he was shocked the moment he raised his head just now. In the pervasive mist, countless lights blinking non-stop, one after another, strange pitch black bats hang upside down on the cave wall. They are definitely observing Ji Fei and the others, and looking out. It turns out that the bats along the roof of the cave is full of dark bats. I rely on. Even Ji Fei couldn't help but cursed. He didn't notice the existence of these things from the beginning. He was really careless. The bats also seemed to realize that Ji Fei was looking at them in an instant, and then involuntarily attacked directly downwards, and the target was either someone else or Ji Fei. The speed was extremely fast, and they landed on Ji Fei's body almost in the blink of an eye. Neck. Ji Fei's eyes were slightly cold. These bats are really powerful, and they are so fast, but if you compare it with my Ji Fei's carefulness, you are still far behind. Boom. The few bats just landed on Ji Fei's body and were instantly knocked aside by an invisible tension, and that power was accompanied by purple flames, and the burning ability of a single bat was also extremely terrifying, and the bats instantly turned into flies. Ash. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.